All right, everybody, here we go. Today is Thursday, May 28th, 2026. My name is Rob Carter. Welcome to the future. #1 radio / podcast in America. What's going on, Isaiah?
Morning. Good morning, everyone.
I don't want to get in trouble. I was talking to somebody last night, and they go, I thought, I didn't realize I was that way. I said, no, he runs the show. Isaiah runs everything. I say, when I piss Isaiah off, he goes, Rob, I don't know how many times I have to tell you, but you got to start off with like and share. I mean, you're doing this radio bit and it's, it's taxing. I'm trying to lead you to water. I wish you would please drink it. And
yes.
There you go.
Yes.
Like and share, like and
share.
I guess it's the only way to spread it and get it to enough people is if everybody gets involved. So we ask for everybody that listens on a daily basis.
That's how we can beat the tech bros.
How we can beat the tech bros is just to like and share, because we talk about things that I don't think the algorithms like very much. It doesn't appear that they like it very much. I mean, I'm at 2 million or a couple thousand away from 2 million impressions. But it like if I put something out and I watch other people how they get like 300,000-400,000 impressions and they're not known people.
Yeah.
You think a lot of those people are bots, Isaiah, real quick? Like when I look on X and I'll see somebody, I'm like, who is this person? I look up and they got 270,000 followers. I'm like, I'm working like a dog 3 hours a day for 3 years and I got 2 million.
So that's what I was talking about this morning with you before we started the show, is how the X algorithm has been changing so much and things have been changing. And so one of the employees of X, he actually made a big change on payouts for creators, where people were making couple $1,000s every 2 weeks, and now they're making $200 because they weren't posting original content. They were just taking something that someone else had posted and then reposting it as their own post, and then they were getting paid off of that, even though it's not their own content. Yeah, exactly. And so there's a shift happening right now. So I think we're going to see some benefits of that because of they're going to start rewarding original content creators who are putting original content out there instead of just repurposing. So it's some growing pains right now as they change this stuff, but I think it's going to be to our benefit.
Well, I'm excited about Rumble.
Yes,
because we're getting, when you add it all up, it's a big number when you add all the impressions. I mean, obviously, you keep telling me it's not about just everyday 3-hour listeners. It's about the total format and the total, your total footprint within social media. And I get it. I do. I mean, I see those numbers. They're incredible to me. Who would have ever thunk it, right? That kind of deal.
Yeah, but just on the show on Rumble, just the show. We're not talking about other stuff that we have on other platforms. Just the show on Rumble, we're at 47,000 views before today's show on just the show, and we're a month in.
It's kind of incredible. It really is. But I like the Rumble situation. I just think that if you are somebody who wants to listen to the show, it's Rumble, right? Because Rumble, you can minimize it and still listen to the show just like the app. That's why you said probably you shouldn't do the app. Just go to Rumble, RUMBLE.com. Yeah. Easy to get it. But I really like this Rumble format. They're not messing with us at all. We haven't messed with one time. You can have comments on there that we can respond to. So if you want to communicate with us, you can. We should probably add this to the equation, Isaiah. Can you add this just in your little mental note? I haven't said it, but I really would like a text line as well. So if people want to just text me on the side because they don't want their name out there. It's odd.
And a call line. That's something that I know you and I have been talking about. We wanted to get Talk to Me Tuesday started again.
Call lines are tough.
I know it is hard
because you get crazy people that want to call and they restrict.
We need some screener volunteers.
We need screeners. But I do like this Rumble deal. I do. I like this Rumble because it gives us everything that we had with the app. When I was at the radio station, you had the app, and a lot of people like the app because you can minimize it. You can carry it around your pocket. It works just like an app. You can play music there, right? So if we want to play music on the show, which I think is a big deal, I think it hurts the show that I can't play music because that's a big part of my life. It's how I remember things.
Yeah.
It's how I remember time frames. It's how I communicate to certain generations, right? It's through music. And when you can't play music or you're going to get shut down from certain platforms, it's bothersome to me. I don't like it, right? But Rumble doesn't mess with you there. It is, you can actually make a little bit of money on Rumble, right? I mean, like people sign up and subscribe on Rumble. I think it's like $5 a month, which, all goes to Isaiah, but it is what it is. I like that. I like the whole format at Rumble. I hope it doesn't change. It really seems to be the freest of all of them right now. How do you get rid of the commercials, Isaiah? That's one thing that people ask me. They're like, hey,
so you can that's where they can subscribe to our channel. And right now, if you're in Rumble, right in the chat down there, there's a little subscribe button. And if you subscribe to our channel, basically what you're actually doing is subscribing to Rumble Premium. And that takes away the commercials. Just like I think you and I both have YouTube Premium, for an example, Rob. So I don't get any ads on YouTube, for example, because I subscribe to YouTube Premium. It's the same way with Rumble. If you subscribe, then it'll take all the commercials away and you won't have to hear any of them.
Oh, okay. All right.
But that's how I mean, we make maybe $1 on the ads every episode. You know what I mean? So it's not,
Yeah,
it's not a
it's not a
bunch of
big
money.
deal, but it's rid of the, yeah, it's no money really. It's 40 or $50 we made in a month or something like
Yeah.
that. All right, let's talk about peopleslobbymo.com. We have a new one now. We have Jake Jackson starting to get he's starting to make a name for himself.
Oh, great.
Keep going, brother. I will push you as far as you want to go. But I like what he's doing. I want to push it along because I think I like young people that get involved in politics and do it based on the Constitution. And he's, I'm sure Jake, like all of us, we have egos. We want to be seen. We want to be heard. This, that, and the other. We're all, it's kind of the nature of the beast. But he's doing things the right way, right? He's going to these meetings. He's going down to the Capitol. He's learning the game. He worked for Bob Onder, U.S. Congressman Bob Onder. He worked for Bill Eigel, who was a gubernatorial candidate and is now running for St. Charles County executive. So he understands the political scene, and he's beginning to challenge people. And he challenges them in a way sometimes that just gets under their skin. I like it. I'm just going to be honest. I like it. There's Jake right there. I like the way Jake goes about it. I like the... he curses on occasion, defends a lot of people. He gets very, he comes back on the attack, but I like it because you get to see how people respond to him. I want to see politicians.
He's giving what he's getting. That's what I would say.
Exactly. If they call him a name, he comes right back at him twice as hard. I don't mind that at all. But what I find in Jake's work is that he's forcing politicians to respond to him because he's a known person in the political scene in St. Charles, Missouri. And I like to watch how they respond. Do they respond as though he's a citizen with a different opinion and here's my position on it and here's your position? Most of them are not responding to Jake in that manner. Most of them, when Jake goes on the attack and says, you shouldn't have voted this way, I respected you, I supported you, you voted this way, and that is not what we talked about, that is not what I campaigned for. They go on the attack on him. Mm-hmm. And this is how I recognize people's character, because believe me, if Rob Carter's running for office and Jake is out knocking on doors and he's putting signs in the yard and he's making phone calls for me and he's telling everybody how great Rob Carter is, if he wants to tell me that I went against his wishes, that we had talked about these policies and I went against those, I have to explain myself.
Yep.
Right? I can't start attacking Jake. I have to explain myself and go, Jake, here's the reason I did it. Call me. Let me explain to you why I did it. Let's have this out because I respect you. I appreciate so much what you did for me. Let me walk you through this. That's not what's happening to Jake.
Yeah.
I'm watching that firsthand. But the reason he's taken off is because of this video he did just recently, kind of like the video you put out with the AI data centers. Isaiah went crazy. Well, he did. He went before the St. Charles committee members. I don't know what that thing is.
I think it was the St. Charles County Council or something like that, maybe, or
something.
City Council.
And he just challenged them on the flock safety cameras. Now they go, these aren't flock. It's like, okay, Kleenex and tissue. It's not a flock camera because flock.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
And they made a big deal out of it. What the hell does that have to do with the price of gas? I mean, it's just ridiculous. Some of the arguments that they make back at him are just so, I don't get it. I don't even know how they can even with a straight face make the arguments that they make. But
they just want to show him that he's wrong about something.
Right? It's not. It's 1/10 of 1% of the point that he's trying to make. But that's what they try to. That's how they try to confuse people. But what Jake is saying is, you have a constitutional duty to protect us from you. That's the Constitution is supposed to be used by politicians to protect citizens from them. Right? But instead, they attack. They say you got it wrong. When he was going after these people for the surveillance systems being put in St. Charles County, the pushback on it to me is absurd. And I got some people that I like in that scene on the other side, but they're wrong. They're just flat out wrong. Because you can surveil somebody, they always go, well, if we use these license plates readers, we can catch criminals. Well, yeah, if you put a camera behind every single person's head, you're gonna get some people. You're gonna
catch some crimes, okay?
Right. And I don't want, and one of the arguments was, these aren't flock safety cameras. We didn't buy them from a third party. We own, St. Charles County owns them. Well, big whoop-de-doo. I don't want St. Charles County spying on me either.
Yeah.
What is wrong with people nowadays? How did conservatives get tricked into this box to where everything is about security? We can't have any crime whatsoever. We have to surveil you 24/7. We must watch everything that you're doing. Must check your license plates. We must sell your information on social media. We must have AI data systems put in so that we can surveil you wherever you go. What is going on? Mm-hmm. And this is coming from my people, right? My small government. I'm not a Republican, but still, I'm not a Democrat either. Just so people know, I think party politics is destroying the country. Yep. I just think it is so tribal and ridiculous. Yeah, change is necessary. Change is necessary. Peopleslobbymo.com. Pop that up real fast and let me move on with my show. Peopleslobbymo.com. Again, We keep getting donations. It's starting to build. I just ask that if you're a daily listener, especially daily listeners, consider $5 a month. We're not asking for you to throw in a ton of money. People keep putting in more money than that, but what we really want, if the world were perfect, we'd have 10,000 $5 donations every month. That gives us room to use the marketing campaign that we're ready for. We're ready for it. Once we have the money to market what we're talking about, so that more and more people understand, I think the faster this goes. And I think that politicians react to pressure. When I was in sports, I used to tell my baseball team, we handle pressure. We apply pressure to the other team because we don't think they're going to be able to handle our pressure. That's what it was about, was pressuring the other side, putting them under stress. I think when you do that to politicians, ultimately they have to react so long as the pressure is unified. When the society starts to recognize that they're getting the shaft, when they start to recognize that they're overtaxed, when they start to recognize they're getting illegally surveilled, when they start to recognize the borders were left open for 50, 60 years, and now our country is flooded with people that don't speak the language that we paid for. Once people start to recognize that COVID was an absolute planned con job and nobody's been held accountable for it, once they recognize that global climate change was a con job and nobody paid for it, once they recognize that the elections are being manipulated through the machines, through voter rolls, through malfeasance everywhere along the line, and they don't recognize it, once they do, once they see that system for what it really is, not what they tell us it is, and the back and forth between the Democrats and Republicans, but what we should be looking at is our government in total. Whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, you're in the government. If the government isn't doing its job, then I look at the government as one piece. I don't look at it as blue and red. I think the more young people get involved, because I think young people are seeing it that way. Don't you, Isaiah? I mean, I'm talking to more and more.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, this whole two-party system is absurd. And it is. It's tribal. I was listening to Dan and Drew this morning. I love Dan and Drew. They know that I disagree with them on this particular topic with the Democrats and the Republicans because they like to poke fun at the Democrats. How difficult is it to poke fun at Joe Biden or Kamala Harris? Is that hard?
Oh, no, not at all. School buses.
Right. It's low hanging fruit, and it's tiresome because it is just used. I was going to make the analogy. Could you imagine if the Cardinals, the St. Louis Cardinals baseball team? I love the St. Louis Cardinals baseball organization. I got a buddy that's played for the Cardinals, and we get the whole Cardinal treatment. They treat their former players and people involved with the Cardinals organization like gold. It's just a great organization. Could you imagine if Ali Marmol he's the manager of the St. Louis Cardinals, if he was talking to his team and he goes, listen, the Cubs are terrible. Let me tell you about the Cubs. That manager over there in the first basement, every practice he starts with how bad the Cubs are. Who would listen to him anymore? You have to fix your team. Republicans, your team sucks.
Focus on you. What can you fix?
Quit talking about the Democrats. Yeah. We know the Democrats suck. We want you to fix you. Your system of government in Missouri and around this country is horrific.
How is changing what the Democrats stand for?
See that though, Isaiah?
Yeah. How is that? How is fixing what the Democrats are doing going to help us? Like we're gonna indoctrinate the Democrats so much, and we're gonna battle with them so much and make fun of them so much that one day they're gonna wake up, Rob, and be like, "Oh, I guess I was wrong the whole time."
We're going to make fun of the Democrats so much that we're going to get a super majority and then join hands with the Democrats that we complain against every day.
7 amendments, no problem. We'll put them in.
See James O'Brien. Now he represents he represents many of the Republicans in our people running for office and some that are already in office. James, I mean, come on, brother. I like you. You like me. We're a happy family. You are selling horseshit to people, brother. You are selling absolute nonsense. And I know it has to be on behalf of the people you are representing. But if you think, because he made a comment on social media today with me, Isaiah, and we'll get into the show, but he made a comment to me that we should stop fighting the process of the Speaker of the House. Let me just, for the people around the country, the GOP in Missouri picks the Speaker of the House before that person has been elected. Can you imagine? And gatekeeps all the legislation. And then they go, well, he's a conservative, Rob. We have to work with him. I don't want to work with him. I don't want to work with him because he was not elected before you chose him.
And I wouldn't say they're conservatives. I'd say they're Republicans.
Absolutely. The Republicans. It's just an absolutely flawed system that takes the power away from the people and puts it in the hands of one person, Alex Riley, who you guys ordained before he was even reelected. How can you make any sense of that? And how can you defend it? It's just absolutely mind-numbingly absurd. And nobody will have that conversation with me. Because the only conversation they can make for themselves is we have to beat the Democrats and we have to stay in control, Rob. And I'm like, well, but everything that you guys do is aligned with the Democrats. I sat there and watched it. You watched it with me, Isaiah.
Yeah,
They were basically hugging the
I
Democrats all
asked
day long. All the amendments were the Democrats' amendments.
I know a former Speaker of the House, a really well-respected Speaker of the House who still works in the Capitol to this day. I asked him, why do you guys support Ann Wagner? She is terrible. Terrible. Congressman, why do you guys support her? And he said, oh, Isaiah, you know, when she was campaigning, she diverted $10,000 of her campaign funds to help us win back the House back in the day. And so that's why you support her. I said, that's not a good enough reason for me.
She went out and made herself about $25 million when she went to Washington, D.C. So now she's able to buy more votes for the Republican Party. She does absolutely nothing for her constituents, nothing. You can't find any person that's ever tried to get a hold of Ann Wagner that can. I got a guy that is so upset with Ann Wagner. He sent me, he goes, dude, what do I do? I mean, she just won't respond to me. I've been trying to get a hold of her for like 2 years. She won't respond to me. And I said, well, she's not going to respond to you. No. She could care less about you. None. Yeah. But they will promote her because she buys into the Republican game.
Mm-hmm. She gets money.
It's like George Orwell, right? With the party. The last command of the party was to not recognize your, I don't know what the exact quote is, but, to ignore what you see, ignore what you hear, and just follow the party. That's kind of where the Republicans are taking it.
Yeah.
It is. The Republicans are like, the Democrats are so bad and we're awful. We admit we're awful. We can't get anything done. All we do is play with the tax code. Our borders are wide open under both offices. Don't get me wrong. Now, Donald Trump has cleaned it up. Supposedly, I guess he's cleaned it up, but he didn't do what he was going to say, or he didn't do what he said he was going to do. That's a fact. But this party has done absolutely nothing for the people of Missouri. Nothing. They doubled their budget, right? Do small government conservatives double their budget, Isaiah?
No.
Would you go, you know what? We're small government. We're small government people. What we're going to do is going to take our budget from $25 to $53 billion. And you guys are going to love it because what we're going to do is going to change the tax code around so you can pay us back for all the money that we spent to buy your votes. It's going to be fantastic. That's not how small government, that's not how I was raised with conservatism.
No.
I don't consider that conservative at all. Conservatism is empowering the people that you represent to take care of their own lives. We don't want to turn our lives over to the government. Don't you get it? We don't want to be surveilled by the government. We don't like your AI systems. We don't like them. Everybody in the country is saying, no, we don't want AI systems. And you guys are going, you just don't know because you're not as smart as us. Once we're able to surveil you every second of the day, then you're going to like them. Right, Isaiah? Then you'll have to like them.
Yeah, this is a good line from the conservative Bible. The Conscience of a Conservative, Barry Goldwater.
Barry Goldwater, give it to
Chapter 7, for anyone who wants to go and read this, please go read Chapter 7 titled Taxes.
They're calling me a Democrat, by the way.
Some of taxes and spending. Yeah, you're a Democrat because you want lower taxes.
Right.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And it says, he says, where is the politician who has not promised his constituents a fight to the death for lower taxes and who has not proceeded to vote for every spending projects that makes tax cuts impossible? ? That would be my question. We have all these politicians who promise tax cuts, and then they get in there and they don't do a thing.
See here,
That's exactly what Barry Goldwater's talking about.
Can I respond to James?
Please.
Because James is on the thing. I love you, James. You know I do. You have to elect people that will cut the government. I don't work with a candidate that support a larger budget and all want it cut, and all of his people that he's working with want it cut. Well, James, what if Alex Riley doesn't want it cut? Now what do we do? Explain it to me what we do. Because you think he's a conservative. I don't know Alex Riley. I could care less about Alex Riley. I didn't vote for Alex Riley. Isaiah didn't vote for Alex Riley. Alex Riley hasn't won his next election. So if Alex Riley has got a couple $1 million in his PACs because he's dealing with big, powerful people and corporations around the state of Missouri, and they convince him that he doesn't want to cut the budget, now what do we do? Now what do the Republican Party do? Nothing. They can't do anything. Because he's going to control all the legislation, just like Cindy O'Loughlin in the Senate. That is taking the voice away from the voters and putting it in the hands of Alex Riley, and that is absolutely ridiculous. It's crazy. John Patterson, same thing. It has nothing to do whether Alex Riley's a good man. I mean, he's probably a really good guy. I imagine
I'm sure they're all very good people.
Yeah, he's probably a good guy as well. What does that have to do with anything? It has nothing to do with anything. It has to do with the process. The people are supposed to pick their leaders. Now, you can do it because it's your party and you can do whatever you want with it. But if you're asking people to go out and support the Republicans and you go, oh, they're fractured, Rob, you're fracturing the Republican Party. Well, yeah, I am fracturing the Republican Party. I want to fracture it as best I can. Everybody wants to fracture it because it's terrible and we want to make it better. And we don't want you guys to go, we're going to fix everything by not addressing the system first. That's our argument. You have to fix the system before you start to fix anything else. Your system puts you in a box to where you can't fix anything. Obviously, I mean, you guys have had how long have they had it? 20 something years? The Republicans have been in charge of Missouri. And then you complain about the Democrats. What do the Democrats have to do with anything? Does anybody make sense of it, Isaiah?
I don't understand why we would need the support.
They have it all. Just like Bogey and McCall. I'll sing that song to you too.
Yeah, so it looks like
I love you.
Riley.
I'm just giving you some trouble, but man, I think you're looking at this wrong. I really do. I think if everybody in the Republican Party would say, you know what, I was thinking about what Rob said. It does seem kind of ridiculous that we pick a leader for the people before that leader has even been reelected because we think he's a conservative and we like him. Who cares what you think? You are representatives of the people. And if you take the voice away from the people by picking the gatekeeper of all legislation before that person has ever been elected, and then we look at your track record of adding gasoline taxes, I could go on and on about the Republican Party. Abortion you guys had completely in your pocket. You gave that away. Now you're coming back and fighting with a watered down version. It's just not going to work anymore. People are sick and tired of it. And the more they understand it, the more you're going to get heat.
Yep.
That's the key. You're going to get more and more heat. I'm just starting, right? There's going to be a lot of Rob Carters start to pop up once they start to recognize what's going on. And as that heat starts to get hotter and hotter and hotter, you guys are going to have to make changes at some point. You just have to make the changes. You cannot continue on with a system that takes the voice away from the people that you're supposed to represent. And everybody feels that way. It's not just me, Isaiah. It's not just Rob. No. I'm just like everybody else. I'm tired of it. All right.
No, if anyone hadn't seen last night, you definitely need to go watch, especially if you're not a millennial or not Gen Z. If you're a Gen Xer or you're a baby boomer, I highly recommend going and watching. It's called Walk Away. Brandon Straka. It's the millennials versus boomers, a debate that just came out last night. Highly recommend watching it because you'll see the two different viewpoints that people have of just the generations and how we're viewing things, and it's very important.
Yes, I thought it was really, really good. People need to watch that because we put this.
I like Ike.
I like Ike Skelton a lot too, and he's right. You know, Ike is going to do Ike is the one who took down the flock cameras, right? Yep. That's what I think my public officials should be doing. If the state of Missouri is spying on me, I don't care if it's just reading my license plates. I don't care what it is. I don't really care what it is. I don't care if it's just looking at the color of my car. Rob drives a blue car. I don't want you guys knowing that I drive a blue car because it's none of your freaking business. All right. I'm a free person. You're not to surveil me to stop crime.
Yeah.
Right. You're not supposed to be surveilling me at every step that I take. That is not your duty. Ike Skelton put his neck on the line, put down those flock safety cameras. I believe he'll be the next. If he has a fair election, he's going to win.
This is something I can get on board with, James. Yes.
See, James and I agree on.
Yeah, that's I can get on board with that. That would be a fantastic.
But
we should ask them.
But just think about it, James. You know, if you're listening, I'm glad you're listening.
We'll vote yes on flock cameras in our city if you vote yes on putting flock cameras in the Senate.
I think of the irony, right? You're putting up flock cameras and building AI data centers, which are really just AI surveillance systems, James. Yeah. That's just really what they are. Okay, they're the people that built them say they're AI surveillance systems. The people that made them, the people that came out, they gave speeches about they could surveil the entire planet with AI data centers, right? These big 1 gig AI data centers all connected throughout the universe. Right. So that's what they're telling you they're going to do. So the government that works for me wants to spy on me, wants to collect all of my data, sell my data, collect my data, and have my data forever. And if I want to watch them do their work in the Senate, they're like, nah, we can't do that because we might grandstand. We can't do that. Think of and that's the Republican Party.
Rob, they were grandstanding while we were there.
They were grandstanding while I was there, but that's the Republican Party, James. When I start seeing your people that you're representing talk out about that, I'll support them. When they talk, I'll give them all the support in the world. I want to support your people. I really do. When I see them talk out about the system, I'll give them the support. Maybe I'm the bad. Maybe they don't want my support though. It might be one of those situations where I'm toxic to that environment. But yeah. I can't support anybody who doesn't talk about the system. I just can't.
The thing is, Rob, is that if there's not people like us, if there's not people like Jake, if there's not people like ACT for Missouri, Shield Maidens for Missouri, if there's not people in groups like that, I know there's a famous quote that I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's, when you're not watching your government, they'll do stuff that you don't want. You know what I mean? They'll pass things that you don't want if you're not paying attention. Yeah.
How about that?
He just went 118-0 on
So this
enforcement.
is no, he's a Trump fan. And Grant, thanks for joining us, brother. I want to get your brother out of prison. So he's a Trump
We're
fan,
working
right?
hard on it.
And Grant's right. This is what we talked about the other day. You know, we ask is MAGA dead, and I didn't mean it in the sense that Donald Trump have control over the Republican Party, because I believe that he does. We've been talking about that a lot. He's incredibly influential. I'm talking about the MAGA movement,
The people.
what it stood for. And
Yep.
maybe that's always. Let me do the advertisers, and then remind me. We'll jump into that, okay? Because really, the question I want to ask is,
We
what
need to
is
do Jones and Grace Hauling really quick.
Yep. And then remind me, Isaiah, because
Yes,
when
sir.
we come back from the advertisements, what does MAGA stand for now?
Yep.
What is MAGA? What is it? Because I see it aligned with MAGA was to get out the Republican establishment, the continual war, the raising of the debt, the squeezing of the middle class. That's what MAGA was against.
Now all these establishment Republicans who hated Trump are with him.
Right now, it feels like we're doing exactly what we were fighting against and calling it MAGA. We just put a title on top of MAGA, and we're doing the exact opposite. So I want to get into that in just a minute. What is MAGA anymore? JonesWater.com, JonesWater.com, 636-899-1040. JonesWater.com. Again, for all of your air and water filtration needs, you got to support my man, Everett Jones. His daughter, Marissa, will be on tomorrow to talk health. This is a healthy family. They know that if you have sinus problems, skin issues, respiratory issues, you have to have clean air in your home. You must have clean air in your home, or you're constantly going to have little ailments. You got to have it. Air and water filtration systems, Everett Jones, water, obvious. I mean, come on. If you don't have a water filter, I think it's funny when I go to people's houses and they don't have water filtration systems. They're drinking that crap out of the sink.
Oh my gosh.
Every time
I live in the city, Rob. It's okay.
I talked to Everett about that. I go, can you imagine drinking the water out of your faucet? He goes, Rob, you know what's in the water? He starts reading. I don't even know what he's talking about with all these chemicals that are in the water. He goes, it's just, I can't believe that people drink this water. And I said, I don't either. I don't get it.
Apparently here in St. Clair, we're one of the only cities that doesn't put chlorine and fluoride in our water.
I was getting ready to put water in the coffee maker when I first moved down to Florida with my wife, and I'm turning on the water, putting in the cup. She goes, "What are you doing?" I said, I thought you said you wanted me to make coffee. She goes, No, the filtered water in the fridge. You got to get the filtered water. She wouldn't even have it. You wouldn't even drink it if it came from. And that's when it was heated and everything else. And my wife is a nurse, so, you know. Air and water filtration needs, JonesWater.com, 636-899-1040. If you want to do business with Everett, and I suggest that you do, great guy, been a longtime supporter of what we're trying to get accomplished here. And he doesn't agree with everything either. I want to remind everybody, our advertisers are not in lockstep with everything that I say. They are in lockstep with the belief that I have the right to say it. That's it. That's all they believe in is free speech. Rob, do your thing. I don't agree with everything you say, but I appreciate that you get out there and you take on some tough topics. That's usually what these people tell me privately.
If sometimes they educate us on stuff we don't know even.
They do. Yeah. They do, absolutely. JonesWater.com. If you want to do business with Everett, St. Charles County, Lincoln, Franklin, Warren, St. Louis, and Jefferson. If you want to go to the east side, or if you live on the east side, Madison, Monroe, Jersey, and St. Clair. JonesWater.com. 636-899-1040. GraceHauling.com, GraceHauling.com, GraceHauling.com. There he is. You're going to see those trucks, cans, and dumpsters all over St. Charles County. And you'd say, well, why do I see these Grace Hauling cans and trucks and everything? All because he does great business. That's why. Outstanding customer service. That's where he prides himself. Just a terrific person. If you're in the political realm in St. Charles County, you know who Gary Schneider is. He does a lot of good things for a lot of people. Gary and Karen Schneider, why? What do you want me to say about your business, Gary? He said, but for the grace of God, I would not have such a thriving business. If you're a commercial customer, 2, 4, 6, and 8-yard dumpsters. This business was established in 1998, just like Everett Jones was in 1995. You see that recovery. And if you want to go to the residential side, trash, recyclables, yard waste, and bulk pickups. GraceHauling.com, 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 636-398-860.
My wife told me I had to tell our Grace Hauling story. She said, you haven't told them about Grace Hauling and how we used to use Grace Hauling. I was like, okay, babe, I'll tell them. And so
you got a Grace Hauling story?
Yeah. So I lived in Forestel, and Grace Hauling, that's one of the areas that they serve. And so the dumpster in our, there was a couple houses on this road, and this house was my wife's grandparents' first house that they bought in the 50s. And they lived up on Mark Twain Lake in their new house. They had 50 years worth of stuff that they needed to kind of get out of here. They had a bunch of junk in the woods. They have 25 acres there. And so I rented a huge dumpster from Grace Hauling. I'm talking huge,
Oh, yeah.
like commercial size. And they had to take 2 or 3 loads from us. So it was great. They let us keep it. I remember even having to talk to them and be like, hey, can we please just keep it for another week? And they were super flexible with us. And I was surprised how fast they got that out there, because this thing it was an enormous dumpster, Rob. But get it out there fast, got to us fast, and got it out of there fast, much faster than I ever would have thought. So my
Nice.
wife told me I had to tell the story. It was like it was a couple months worth of very hard labor that I had to do, Rob. There's 50 years of junk in their woods. There's toilets and cars and bathtubs, you know what I mean? And just stuff that they had thrown out there.
You're a young guy in great shape.
Yeah. Oh, it was fun. Just get on the tractor, go out there, scoop stuff up, throw it in the dumpster.
I'm sitting. I got to finish this with Grace Hauling. So I'm sitting. I went to talk to him. I'm trying to get a bunch of our advertisers, people in my life together. I want to build, and you got to start somewhere, right, Isaiah?
Yep.
If you build a mountain, it's just one rock at a time, right? So I went out and met with him, and I said, listen, I would like you to come to just a meeting that I'm going to have in mid-June with advertisers, wealthy people in my life, fans of the show, just a group of people that can begin to work with each other. So, fans of the show, fans of what we're doing, will do business with these people. If they do business with people, maybe they get some, they just get an in, maybe they need a favor from Grace Hauling every now and again, and they've been around for a couple of years. I trust them. Who knows, right? But you want to build a little community where we're all doing work and business and political activity together. Got to build it somewhere. And I'm sitting at the corner of this restaurant in New Melly with Gary Schneider. And every car that comes honking at it, and I couldn't even have a conversation with him because everybody knows him. He's like Santa. He's sitting out there at the corner eating his hamburger, and every truck that comes by is waving to him. People are coming up. Everybody that walks in knows him. He's like a celebrity out in that area, and it's because he's a good man.
Yeah,
it's really
that was right where we were living at the time. In that old house of her old grandparents' house. We were staying there for it was right before we bought our house, and so we moved in there for like 3 or 4 months so I could fix it up. But it's right next to New Melly, that whole area. You see Grace Hauling stuff everywhere when you're out there.
What a great town too, isn't it? It's like going back. It's like going back in time a little bit. I like it.
Oh yeah, very very.
RockitCareers.com, ROCKIT careers.com.
Oh, you're going early on them.
I'm giving Mitch out right now. Feels like it's time. Oh, I'm messing up your sequence.
Oh, I wasn't ready for it. Yeah, no, but it's 9:45. We went a little long on the intro anyway. So.
RockitCareers.com. This is Mitch. Mitch just did a podcast with a buddy of mine, Jeff Wilson.
I saw that he was doing
that. I got to hear it because Mitch knows more about the Jeffrey Epstein and child trafficking stuff. He's been an online researcher for 10 years, and he collects and keeps everything. I got to hear that because it's going to be hilarious. But Mitch is just a salt of the earth guy. Again, if you are a small to medium-sized business, anywhere from coast to coast, and human resources just can't get the job done for you. They keep giving you bad candidates. You just can't improve your business because you can't find good workers, good employees. Rockit Careers will take care of you. RockitCareers.com. You can reach them at 636-778-2419. It's cost effective. They'll bring talent to your organization, and they'll do it with a smile on their face. You're going to like doing business. I promise you, more than anything, you're going to like doing business with RockitCareers.com. And secondly, if you're out of work, if you hate your job, if you're sitting in that cubicle right now going, I cannot waste another day of my life in this particular position. How do I launch a new career? Well, you launch a new career with Rockit, ROCKIT careers.com. 636-778-2419, RockitCareers.com.
Yeah, I'll even say is you don't even need to want a new job. Mitch can correct me, but I guarantee that Mitch helps people who just need help writing a new resume to get them in the same field, but get a better job. You know what I mean?
Out of work or hate your job. That's his little thing.
Yeah. So you don't even have to leave that field. If you just want to maybe become a director or a VP and you've been maybe a middle manager for a long time, resume writing can make a huge difference for getting jobs like that because it shows what you know, the things you've done, and all those things that HR is looking for and that hiring managers are looking for.
Nice.
And I only know this because I was a hiring manager and I know all the things that I'm looking for and all the systems that I use to weed people out so that I didn't have to talk to them.
That was terrible. I was when I hired people, for the years that I was in management, it was always through somebody I knew.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember getting 25 resumes for a particular sales job. And I'm like, I'd call somebody up and go, hey, anybody that's out of work that would be really good for this. This is the territory, this and the other. It was always through a recommendation. I just didn't trust people to sit in front of me because I like everybody.
Yeah.
I do 25 interviews. I like all 25 people. I really, I want to hire
I know.
every one of them usually because I know they're out of work and, or whatever. And you want to be the savior. You want to be the one to go, okay, you got your job. You just want to be that person. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't want to get into that. We'll post it, but I'm going to go through my own process over here. And
Yep. 100%. 100%. No, that's the best way to get a job. And just a free tip for anyone, Mitch is going to hate me for giving out free stuff here, but I would say that if one of the best ways that I've helped people get jobs is by reaching out to people that are in the job that they want. So maybe you're a salesperson that's trying to get a sales job. Reach out to a salesperson at that company that you want to work for. Ask them about the job. You can find a lot of people on LinkedIn.
That's usually how I do it.
Yeah, just ask them, hey, do you like your job? Are you happy with it? Are you making good money? Do you like your managers? Right? You'll develop a relationship with that person. And I can't tell you how many times, Rob, that conversation results in that person at that company giving that person's name to the manager.
You want to help?
Then, woo, you've just completely gone around the system.
100% agree. All right.
I'm passionate about this. Sorry.
I am too, a little bit, to be honest with you. What is MAGA now? I really want to ask that question to our audience. I know we have a lot of Donald Trump supporters that listen to the show. I'm a Donald Trump supporter to a degree. I don't hate Donald Trump. I'm questioning what he's doing because it doesn't make any sense to me. That's all. And I talk about it every day. I'm not I don't have TDS. I was on his campaign. I voted for him 3 times.
We're not liberals.
We're not liberals. COVID scared me. When I watched him push COVID, I went, what in the world is this person doing? Because it destroyed my career. If anybody cares, nobody really cares about anybody, their careers and their life. But I had a 30+ year career that was taken away from me when Donald Trump shut down society.
Yeah. I was told to fire half my staff by the CEO that I helped run the company for.
Yeah. I mean, when he said we're extending the 2-week lockdown, that was it for me. That was the end of Robb Carter's 30+ year in the shoe business because I had rolled the dice and went to work for a guy out of Los Angeles. It was a private owner. And he spent a lot of money out of his pocket to build an organization. He put me in charge of it. I went out for almost 3 years. And at that time, it was 7 years. I think it was 6 or 7 years at that point. But we had gotten a line of shoes. It was getting traction. We put it out into the marketplace. We had it in all of the major from Foot Locker all the way down to Nordstrom's and Macy's. We had our shoes in every major retailer in the country. And then we shut the country down. Worked out great, Isaiah. It was so fantastic. You work your entire life to put yourself into a position in the your own government shuts down society on a fraud that they sold to you called COVID. Right?
And it's hard to do stuff like that for people who don't know how sales works and just business development and getting into new places. It's a lot of work and time.
It was 200 days out of my life every year on the road, trying to convince people to give that brand a particular chance. It was all encompassing. It was my life. That's what I did. My life was 200 days on the road, 200 days a year on the road, sleeping in hotels, going in and dragging 4 and 5 bags in and out of airports. It was exhausting. I was in my late 40s, early 50s when this was all going on. It was tiring. I'd finally gotten to the end of the rainbow. Things were getting ready to rock and roll. And Donald Trump decided to sell COVID to everybody. And I knew before he sold it, it was BS. So, you guys might not recognize it as such, but I do. I was in China. As I've said 1,000 times, my buddy Ben goes, don't tell that story again. I've heard that story 1,000 times. But the reason I'm different is because I have an experience that most people don't have. I was in China when COVID happened and nobody in China was falling down in the streets. In fact, nobody was wearing a mask and nobody was even talking about it. And our country was telling you that everybody's falling down the streets dying in China. And I was just there. It wasn't happening. It was nonsense. So, I have a little different perspective on it. But what is MAGA, Isaiah? Do you have a sense of what MAGA is anymore? Because I thought MAGA was accountability for the government, draining the swamp, getting information out to people, convincing the older guard in the Republican Party that their time had come and that the young people were coming in and they wanted transparency in government. They wanted to lower taxes. They wanted the government off of their back. They wanted to stop wars. They wanted to clean up the borders. They wanted to clean up our country. I thought that's what it was all about. What is it now? Now it's for war and Lindsey Graham?
Yep. Whatever Trump says it's for is
I know what I think. That's what makes me nervous. That's my point. That's my point with the Donald Trump.
What's funny is that the Agenda 47 website is no longer live.
No?
Yeah.
You were going to go through that today with me.
Yeah. So I had to go to the Internet Archive here to look at some of the.
Let's look at what we were promised. What do we got here?
Clean out the deep state.
Right. And you see this, right? I saw somebody on social media. They go, Thomas Massey's gone. Marjorie Taylor Greene, John Cornyn. I'm like, so Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massey were the deep state? Okay. Marjorie Taylor Greene had been a congresswoman for 4 years, and she was the deep state. Just absurd. And then he's endorsing Lindsey Graham. That's getting rid of the deep state. What's the next one? Because it doesn't look like
I pulled up I didn't want to go through everything because it's a lot, but I pulled up Wikipedia to make it easier for us here.
Give me a couple of them.
Yeah, so Agenda 47 is Donald Trump's 2024 presidential campaign formal policy plans, just for anyone who doesn't know or was not kind of in the know at that time. Economy. Restrictions on Chinese ownership of infrastructure in the United States.
Well, hang on right there, right? Because that's funny. It is funny.
Yeah.
Because Donald Trump, like I said, he went on a Dr. Phil show. Dr. Phil show pulls up a map and he goes, look at it, right. And he was talking about Missouri. He goes, look right here in Missouri. He goes, this in red. He goes, this is Chinese owned land right around a military base right here. And Donald Trump goes, oh yeah, that's bad. We gotta do something about that. And then when he becomes president, he says he's not going to do anything about it. And he's going to bring in 500,000 Chinese students while still calling them our enemy and saying that they are the one that brought the China virus, the COVID virus, to America through the works of Anthony Fauci, who he gave a Medal of Commendation, and they still are recommending the COVID genetic therapies. I mean, how do Donald Trump supporters rationalize this in their minds? How do they not get upset about it when he says he's going to get rid of the Chinese influence in America and then expands it times 100?
5D chess.
It is 5D chess. What you have to do is you have to let your enemy win, and then you can say you let them win, and that was the strategy all the time.
I loved the video JP Sears did with Alex Jones, because he just hosted. Did you see JP Sears hosted the Alex Jones show the other day?
No.
Yeah, he was yeah, it was funny because he's hosting, and it's clear that he's not used to doing live shows. You know what I mean?
Not easy.
He kind of breaks into his character every once in a while, and it made it really, really funny. But they played the skit where he is giving the IQ test to Alex Jones, right? And he's like, so let me ask you, Alex, if you want a straight to stay open, and the only way to keep that straight open is to not declare war, what do you do? And he goes, oh, well, clearly you don't declare war. He goes, wrong. You go to war with them. It's like, because JP Sears is trying to be the Zionist MAGA person, right? And, and Alex
scary.
Like, oh man, what do I do now that I found out I'm so stupid?
Right. What's scary about that, Isaiah, is we are starting wars unconstitutionally, and the people backing it up are the Republicans and the voters. Like if you talk to Republican voters, Donald Trump supporters right now, they don't care at all that we're going to war without approval from Congress, because the reason Congress is important is that's your voice. That's why it's designed that way. You have to determine whether you think we should be going to war with Iran. It's between Isaiah, me, it's our vote, our representatives. And if our representatives think that we should be going to war because the people have said, you know what, we've seen enough out of Iran, we want to go to war with them, then you vote in Congress to approve war. We're not even doing that anymore. And nobody cares. Nobody cares. So I guess if Gavin Newsom wants to go to war with Mexico, and he goes, look, Mexico, they've been sending drugs into our country for a long time. We are going to bomb Puerto Vallarta. We have to bomb Port. We're going to send them a message. We're going to take out their infrastructure in Puerto Vallarta. We can't take it anymore. I mean, there's too much cocaine and marijuana and fentanyl coming across the southern border. We got to send them a message. I mean, look, we had 100,000 young people die of fentanyl overdoses last year. We have to bomb Venezuela. There's nothing we can do. And then they just bomb it. And then the Democrats will go, yeah, we have to bomb it. I mean, Gavin Newsom said we have to bomb it, so we have to. The mental gymnastics that it takes to get there is so bizarre to me. But I don't even think people know the Constitution. I don't even think they know that Congress is supposed to be the one that approves war in our Constitution. Yeah. Donald Trump should be tried. He should be tried right now for treason. And I know people think that's crazy. You can't start wars on your own. And maybe Obama should be in the same boat. And maybe Bush should be
probably too, right?
Maybe all of them should be in the same boat. You can't. The Constitution does not allow for the United States government to hit military interventions and start war overseas without the approval of the people and the people's representatives in the U.S. Congress. That's a fact. Wait a minute.
That's the fact, Jack. That's the fact, Jack.
What is going on, Isaiah? You got to explain it to me. I get frustrated with it because I just think it's so simple. The easiest way to get out of the box that we are in is to make our politicians follow the Constitution.
Yeah.
That's it. If we do that, if we would just all go, we have a Constitution, this right thing right here, that's the Constitution. You guys should read it. It's not that big of a deal. It's really simple. And then you'll understand how your government was formed and why it's important to follow the Constitution, because every government prior to the United States government in 1776 abused their power over their people. The Constitution was supposed to refrain the government from exercising their power on their people. The government is supposed to be run by the people. Everybody knows this, but everybody forgot about it. And when they fall in love with any particular political candidate, they don't care whether they follow the Constitution or not. That's why
I'll give you two answers from
that was supposed to be the deal with MAGA. I thought that was another part of it was the Constitution. Anyway, go ahead.
I'll give you two answers from the young people. One, foreign influence. That's the problem. And that's why we're not MAGA anymore. Foreign influence over our elections, foreign influence over decision-making power that happens within Congress and at the presidential level. And then immigration. I think that immigration is a huge problem and is a result of the wars that we go and create as well. And Owen Schroyer talked about this last night on that debate.
I heard that was great, by the way. Can we pin that? Is there a way to get that clip and pin it somewhere? Maybe pin it on my social media feeds or something so we can. And
I'm sure there's going to be clips coming out too. They did it really smart, Rob. They only streamed 30 minutes of it on X, and then they told everyone to go to YouTube. I thought that was really smart. And then you had to go watch. Yeah. So they only streamed 30 minutes, and then they had a little display at the top. It said, if you want to watch the full show, go to our YouTube channel. And I was like, oh, that was really smart. That's how they drive people to their YouTube channel and get views and stuff. But immigration, the reason I say that is because I don't think, maybe I'm wrong. I think our listeners know this, but not everyone knows this. We go create wars, for example, in Afghanistan, and then we bring back refugees to America. How does that make sense?
My aunt right now, she might be listening. My aunt is like a sponsor for an Afghani family. My aunt, right? So check it out what she says to me one day. And if you're listening, Carolyn, I apologize. But she says to me, she goes, Rob, I was talking to this Afghani family, and they can barely speak English, and they're trying to survive in America. They came from Afghan when that whole thing fell apart. And she goes, and the government sent them a check for $10,000, and they're wondering what to do with it. What do you think? I said, they just got a check in the mail for $10,000. This is what my aunt told me. They got a check, the Afghani family got a check in the mail from the U.S. government for $10,000. And because they were conscientious people, they didn't know whether they should cash it or do anything with it. They didn't know why they were getting a check for $10,000. Yeah, I don't know what they did with it, but that just gives you an idea of what's going on in our country. Did you get a check for $10,000, Isaiah?
No, the only check I got was from Biden for $2,000.
Are you American?
Yep. Born and raised.
Why are Afghanis coming from Afghanistan getting secret checks in the mail for $10,000 when you and I are paying $75 for a bag of cherries?
Yep. And they're getting free healthcare. They're getting free cell phones. They're getting free housing. Think about that. If you're getting everything for free and you're getting money given to you, what do you need to do? You don't need to work. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to be a contributing member of society. You don't need to assimilate into society. None of these things.
But think of the process, right? So we go into Afghanistan. How long were we in Afghanistan? 10 years? We go into Afghanistan, right? And then as we create war with Afghanistan, we're bringing in the people from Afghanistan into America and giving them money that our soldiers went over there to fight. Nobody sees a problem.
Yep. That was the thing the boomers couldn't really get past last night. I don't know why, but I couldn't understand why they just couldn't accept that that's fact, because it is a fact. It's not a conspiracy or something. We go fight wars, we create problems, and then now people that are on our side who are against their government, they need to be saved because now they've just ousted themselves as being pro-American, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we're gonna help you. Mm-hmm. Come on, we'll help you.
Come on over here.
Here's
here's the way the situation really works in real life. Do you guys want to just a little lesson on real life? Can we just give a lesson on real life? If we stop thinking in the normal left versus right, America is great, everybody else is the enemy. If we stop that for a second, the real world works in this way. The intelligence agencies, the people that are being funded through the Pentagon and USAID and all the things that Doge discovered, right? Those intelligence agencies are all around the world, and they create war wherever they decide they want to create war. They are aligned with intelligence agencies. Most likely, and probably the most prominent one, is Israeli intelligence. And they create the circumstances for war. They can create it in Syria if they want. They can create it in Iraq if they want. They can create it in Iran if they want. They can create it in Lebanon if they want. They can create it in Egypt if they want. They can create it anywhere on the planet that they want. They create the conditions for war. When the host country fights back, we call those people terrorists. And then we go to war with them. And then we get the war machine going. And then we start printing money. And then guys like Lindsey Graham, who live in South Carolina where they make weapons, goes, gotta have that war over there in Iran. They're going to blow up the entire world. I'm Gomer Pyle, and I know that they're going to tear up the whole world. We got to go in there and bomb them. Nuke them, baby. Nuke them. Right?
I got to find Jesse Waters' posts from last night because I was laughing my head off.
That's how the world really works, though, Isaiah. People don't recognize how the world really works. It is our intelligence agencies, along with many others, that are creating the circumstances for war. Trust me when I tell you, Iran was not looking to take out America if we were not over in the Middle East causing problems. They had nothing to do with us. We were allies with Iraq and Saddam Hussein before we decided we needed to bomb him and drag him out of a hole and execute him. He was an ally, Saddam Hussein. Got pictures of Donald Rumsfeld over there with his arm around him. Hey, baby, what's going on with Donald Rumsfeld? And then we went to war with him and drug him out of a hole and executed him.
Yeah, this is what Fox News. This is how Fox News thinks of the war.
Is this just
don't want to watch the video? It's 5 minutes, but I just think the caption says it all. Trump just bombed Iran again. Holy smokes!
Who is watching that garbage? Who is watching that?
It's so funny
Why
because
are people watching that still.
I guarantee if we scroll down from a couple other posts that he made from a couple days ago, it's probably like Trump is the greatest negotiator in history. See, Trump's not getting snookered in Iran. That's what he says here.
Good Lord.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
He's
a big pusher of the UFO thing too.
What happened with the UFOs? Remember we were going to get all the information on the UFOs, Anna Paulina Luna.
Well, you didn't see that they didn't make a big deal about it, but they already dropped the second drop. Did you know that?
What is it? What did we learn?
Nothing. I mean, there's an angel in there, apparently, they say.
Is it all distraction again?
Yeah.
Kind of like all these things that they bring up. Like the Chinese spy balloon was my favorite. I was watching all my friends on Facebook during the Chinese spy balloon thing. And I just, it gives me a headache because these are smart people in my life that I've known forever and they're well-to-do. They've made good lives for themselves. And there was a half a dozen that I was watching when the Chinese spy balloon was crossing from the northwest to the southeast. Do we all remember that? Right. Mm-hmm. And the spy balloon was coming and they were taking pictures like, I can see it. I can see the spy balloon. And they were taking pictures. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what is our country is just, they're lost. We have a lost country. It's just too much. And then the argument from the Biden administration was they couldn't shoot it down. Think of all the farmland between the Pacific Northwest all the way down to the Southeast. You could have shot that thing down 1,000 times over. When did they shoot it down? When it crossed over the ocean, then they shot it down and you never heard another word about it.
Nope.
It was a distraction. Whatever they were doing right there, they wanted to sell advertisement on Fox News. So they sold you a Chinese air balloon, which is probably a weather balloon or who knows what it was, probably nothing. And then to this day, every Fox News viewer believes that China floated a balloon across our country and we just allowed it to happen and then shot it down over the Atlantic Ocean. This is what people believe.
Yeah,
it's embarrassing. And John Grady's dead on the money. War is a racket, just like General Smedley Butler said. You know who Smedley Butler is?
No.
Oh, we got to get into that one of these days.
No.
Oh, yeah, he spilled the beans on what was going on in the world back in the day.
Okay.
General Smedley Butler. We'll get into it. But I want to say
exciting.
We'll have to set that one up before we do it. And again, everybody, I see people starting to join in. Like and share. Please like and share. That's the only thing we ask for. We do this. We put a lot of time and energy. Isaiah, how much time and energy? Is your wife getting mad at me yet?
No.
You got
no.
I drive you crazy from the time we start the show till you go to bed at night. I'm driving you crazy.
Oh, it's okay. I enjoy it. I was just thinking this morning, I was praying and I was reading my Bible and I was like, man, Lord, thank you for such an awesome life. So grateful.
I am too. I just love where everything is heading. I could not be more excited about. We're finally getting to do, and it really comes from the advertisements, the donations, and everything else. Yeah. We're able to do what we envisioned we were going to do. Maybe, at least in my mind, you were more optimistic than me, but I was thinking this was going to take me a year. I did. I was nervous. I thought it was going to take me a year, and it really happened in 3 weeks, and we had enough funding to get the whole thing up and running. We were just talking to somebody who's going to run the websites for us. The clip cutting is something we're missing because we're using AI to do it, which does not do the job the way Rob would.
As we can, kind of, right?
Right. And that is another full-time job in and of itself. We have the money to go out and buy, well, not buy, I shouldn't say, but to hire somebody who's able to do the clips for us. So we'll be able to put out the
Thanks
clip.
to John for the recommendation, by the way.
John Grady gave us who was just on the screen. He's the one that gave the recommendation. And you talked to the guy, you know a lot more about it than I do. But we got all excited about that because this allows us to, once we have the clips, we can make movies, right? We can do documentaries. We can.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the clips that we've already made, and I'm putting zero effort really. I'm just using the AI and just finding a good one that I know is good. I think one clip I just put out yesterday or the day before has 5,000 views on YouTube. It's just one clip.
Exactly. Wait till we start making clips 3 or 4 a day, right? I think he wants to do 3 a day. And nobody said 3 to 5 a day.
Yep.
So he's going to make 3, and I'm good with clips, right? Because I can nail it for 30 to 60 to 2 minutes. I can go on a rant and it's all off the top. I've said it 1,000 times. Most of my stories, right? People that have been listening to the show forever, they're like, Rob, don't tell that story. I've heard that story 1,000 times. I'm like, I know, but I got new people all the time. They don't know the background. I got to tell them the background. I apologize, but it's 3 hours. It's going to take me 2 minutes to get that story out and we move on. But I do get it I'm that way too. I don't want to hear a story.
Sometimes 4 hours.
Sometimes 4.
Someone said yesterday they love when we go the extra hour. That just means it's a good show.
Well, we try to keep people entertained as best we can, right?
Yes.
Let's get into Trump before I go too far, because the question of the day was, is MAGA dead? And I didn't mean that, and I don't think you meant that in the sense that we're rooting for it to be dead. Yeah. I don't even know what it means anymore. That's why I'm kind of just very leery of the Trump support when it doesn't make any sense. I'm like, wait a minute. Every time I bring up Donald Trump, this is what annoys you. If I bring up what's going on in Missouri government, it doesn't annoy you. If I bring up J.D. Vance, it doesn't annoy you. If I bring up Gomer Pyle, Lindsey Graham, it doesn't annoy you. But if I say one thing about Donald Trump, there's a knee-jerk reaction to defend him.
Yeah.
And I don't think he needs to be defended. I think he needs to be asked tough questions and answer them. Talk about it every day, right?
I didn't even think about this, but no one was mad about us attacking Ed Reinstein. They were just mad at us for supporting Thomas Massey. Isn't that funny?
Yeah, because Donald Trump's against him.
Yeah, that's so funny. I just thought about that. I was like, no one really criticized us for not liking Ed Reinstein. It's just that we like Massey.
Isaiah, I really liked Rick Ellis. So at the radio station, I mean, I like Rick Ellis. I would be friends with Rick Ellis if we had nothing. If we were not in the radio business and I met Rick, I like Rick. I just like his whole personality. He's from my neck of the woods in North County. We have the same vibe together. He's kind of he's a little hot-headed like me. Like he's ready to get down when he needs to, right? He used to get so frustrated with me. I could feel it in his energy around me if I started being negative about Donald Trump. And it didn't bother me necessarily, but I just recognized it, right? And it just reminded me so much of me. That's how I was in the first administration with Donald Trump. I would listen to podcasters, radio show hosts. I'd watch documentaries or watch anything. But as soon as they mentioned something negative about Donald Trump, they were out of my mind. Done. And I understand it. That's why I don't get mad at people. But I do wish that those of us that are still thinking that Donald Trump is somehow the glue that's going to make this all work. He's the person to start to question what he's doing, because there are things that he's doing that are facts. I mean, nobody's disputing. He's not even disputing them. That make no sense for the original MAGA case. It doesn't make any sense. And I want to start there. Let's do Glenn Greenwald. Clip number 5. This is Glenn Greenwald. Now, some things that are great. You know, people want to say, Rob, give me great news. The good news right now is we are beginning to debate. That is happening. You're starting to see major players. Glenn Greenwald sits around 20 Trump supporters and debates them. You have Brandon Straka with the walkaway movement, just had the boomers on versus he called it the millennials, right? And they're talking to each other.
They're about to do a MAGA versus America First one coming out.
This will change this is why I would say, when Jesus is involved, right? When Jesus is involved and you stay close to Jesus and you ask Jesus for help and guidance, the one thing that we have to do as a society is learn how to talk to one another again. James is on a different page than me, James O'Brien, right? But I like James. Has always been good to me. I got no problem with James. Some of the people that are on his team, you know, that he's working with, right? He does some work for them. I don't dislike those people. I don't dislike them at all. They may not like me. They may hate me, but I don't dislike those people, right? Yeah. But I want to talk to them. I don't like them talking behind my back. I would prefer that they just say, Rob, you know, I got a bone to pick with you. I'd like to come on your show and whoop your ass. Bring it.
They don't, you know, cockroaches don't like when the light shined on them.
But all I say is I want to have a conversation with you. I disagree with you. I want you to explain to me this, and this. And if you want to explain, you know, because a lot of the big kick on me is that I live in Florida, right? I'm talking about Missouri politics and I'm in Florida. And they just keep beating this home. I'm like, you guys don't have to understand. Nobody's hiding from the idea that I live in Florida. I live in Florida. Florida. Okay. But my heart, and my wife gets mad at me when I say this, but my heart is in Missouri. This is where I grew up. This is where my family was raised. This is where I coached baseball. It's where I went to high school. It's where I went to college. It's where all of my friends and family are at. They're in Missouri. I love Missouri, and I'll be back in Missouri. I'm not gone from Missouri. I'm just in Florida right now. All right. But that's a big thing to them. Like they want to use this as a hammer to dismiss what I have to say in Missouri politics because my address is in Florida. All fine and dandy, but why not just talk to me about the issues? Why are you trying to hurt me versus just counter what I have to say?
Yeah.
That to me is a tell.
Yeah.
That tells me that you got an agenda that I don't understand. Because if you want to have a conversation with me, if you want to refute what I have to say, if you want to go eyeball to eyeball with me, I offer it every single freaking day. Come on. I want to do it. I think it's good for society, even if you win. I got no ego in a conversation like that. If I lay this out for you and you go, Rob, here's the reason, and this is why it's so important to do it this way, boom, 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 boom. And I think about that for a second. I go, you know what? I never thought of that. Okay. All right. I'm going to jump off of that topic. I agree with you. Why wouldn't you want to do that if you think you're on the side of right? It's just what you'd want to do. That's my take. All right. Here's good thing going on in the country right now is debate is beginning to happen. It's the first time that we've had real debates televised by major players in the media in a long, long time. Used to be commonplace in the 60s, 70s, even in the 80s on PBS and stuff, they would have it, but it basically just went away. It went away because major politicians said, I'm not gonna get into the moderator game because Fox News and CNN would have the moderators and they could just use that as an excuse. Much the way Marcus Carey talked about it, Isaiah, when he was on the show. He said, well, they're just not useful anymore. Well, they're useful if they're done right. It's just that we don't do them right. Okay. Sorry. Glenn Greenwald, clip number 5. Check this out. Is MAGA dead? Is the question.
Gotta watch Glenn Greenwald on Jubilee Media Surrounded against 20 MAGA supporters, but this clip cooks.
Serious question. Just imagine a president, a Democratic president that's not Donald Trump. 4 days before they're inaugurated as president, they create a new company, and into that company flows hundreds of billions of dollars or billions of dollars from the very countries that'll be most affected by that president's foreign policy. That wouldn't concern you at all? You don't think there's anything disconcerting about that?
There could be a suspicion, but I'm not going to make a claim that he's corrupt, and that's the claim that you're making right now.
For clarity, Glenn's claim is that the Trump admin is more corrupt than the Biden admin because of the volume and the quantity of financial amounts that he's enriched his family with.
Because everything that Trump has done since then has benefited those very countries that enriched his family so greatly with billions of dollars in personal wealth to his family. And not only that, but the Saudi investment in Jared Kushner's fund, Saudi.
If you complained about Hunter Biden enriching himself to millions of dollars because of daddy's power, but you're ignoring the Trump family making billions, you're a hypocrite.
But the Iran war negatively affects the UAE, right? And Donald Trump somewhat
the
caused
UAE
the Iran
is
war.
thrilled with the Iran war. As people said
really?
earlier,
they're having shit fall on their cities.
The UAE
they're having shrapnel fall on their
The UAE hates Iran. They're encouraging Iran. They're encouraging Trump to continue. They want regime change. They despise Iran. So do the Saudis. This war is done. Trump would never have done this war without those very countries with whom he's closest, which coincidentally has also poured billions of dollars in personal wealth into his family. If that isn't corruption, I don't know what is.
Oh! Get him, Glenn!
And all of you thought that what Hunter Biden did, which was on a much, much smaller scale, you all thought that was corruption. I did too, because I'm actually consistent. I don't change my principles based on which party is in office. It's the same exact transaction, only as Andy McCarthy said, the longtime conservative prosecutor, in order to compare Trump's kids and Biden's kids, you have to add 2 zeros to what Trump's kids are doing.
From crypto funds to Jared Kushner's personal enrichment, his investment fund, to the dozens upon dozens of lucrative government contracts and investments in drone companies and the like, Glenn just brings the heat on this entire episode. Good job, Glenn. To be a man of principle, you must be loyal to those principles, or you can be loyal to a public servant, but you can't be both.
I like that. Can we clip that right there? I want that.
I know, right?
Steal that from him. That's how I see it. I'm loyal to the Constitution. Rob Carter is loyal to the Constitution. When I see the Constitution being broken, when I see fraud everywhere, when I see people sticking needles in their citizens' arms by mandate, or they can't work or whatever, even if it's being sold by our government, I see that as corruption at a degree that is intolerable, and it has to change. Let's see what Reb has to say here.
Oh gosh, covering your whole face.
Yeah, you got to read that for me.
Yes, here, I'll take it down so that it's not covering your face here. It says she's responding to is MAGA dead? So she's saying absolutely not dead. It's not about Trump. It's about us. Wrong. That's been proven wrong. But
he just turned over 8 people with his endorsement.
Yeah, that's completely wrong. I think that's pretty easy to see. And then she says, and though I'm obvious not a baby boomer, there's many of them who know more than the rest. They've seen more, not because of Fox News, Personally, I never was a Fox viewer over the decades, never really even knew what Fox was, just seeing a deeper vision. Yeah. So I mean, I can agree. I think that's something I talked to Marcus Carey about when he was on, is that I understand that people that are older than me know more. And that's what they talked about yesterday on that debate as well. I think it was either Owen or Harrison who said that, hey, you know, you guys have more experience, and so we want to learn from that. But the problem is that the boomers talked about this too, is like, we're not as technologically savvy. And so that makes it difficult for us. And the millennials are more technologically savvy, and it's true. And the millennials told the boomers, and they wouldn't accept this, but the millennials will tell the boomers, yeah, that's how you're getting indoctrinated with fake news. You know, is through the media, and they're telling you things and you're just believing it.
Well, well, didn't you, Isaiah, when you were young?
Yeah, of course.
I did. The thing that got me, and I talk about all the time, and I want to move on to another one, was the Iraq War.
Yes.
I look back at the Iraq War and think that was one of the most heinous, organized attacks on a sovereign nation I've ever witnessed in my entire life. They had nothing to do with anything, and our country attacked them, killed hundreds of thousands of their people, displaced millions of people out of Iraq, all on what we know now was either fraudulent information or a lie from the beginning. And our country doesn't pay a price for that. In fact, Donald Trump said we should keep the oil. Can you imagine going into a country illegally, slaughtering their people, destroying their infrastructure, and going, well, at least we can do is take their oil. I mean, hell, we had to go over there and destroy a sovereign nation. At least we can. I mean, they're Iraqis. Who cares? Let's go over there and let's take their stuff. I mean, you would never say that if you were thinking properly, but because this is the way we believe now, it's just that we don't care. It's like the Middle East is it's like a movie screen way over here that we don't recognize the people, or that they have lives or families, or they have their kids in school, or that they love their parents, or that they have a historic society. We don't care about any of that. It's just, you know, we got it wrong. We're sorry. We thought you had weapons of mass destruction. We did. We're really, really sorry. We're sorry we had to bomb your entire civilization into the dark ages. We're really sorry about that. As George Bush said, oops. He made a joke at the White House Correspondents' Dinner where he's like looking for weapons of mass destruction underneath the table. He goes, they're not here. They're not here. Oops. Yeah, making fun of it. I mean, that's, like I said, it's sadistic at some level, but we're so conditioned to be okay with it that we just let it go. It's like COVID, right? COVID, the biggest con job that I've ever seen in my life, and nobody even sees anything about it. In fact, when I was at the radio station, they used to get annoyed with me when I would talk about it. They said, it's over. I said, hey, how can that be over?
Yeah.
How can it be over that your government stuck needles in your arm by mandate?
Mm-hmm.
With a concoction, they didn't even know what it was. How can that possibly be that? How can that ever be over?
It's not going on anymore, Rob, so it's over.
That's what I mean. I think you don't let those things go. Okay.
Levi was in here. I don't know if he's still watching. Jeff's son, Levi.
Yeah.
And he just made a good comment. So it was covering your face, so I wanted to take it down. But Trump has performed the greatest heist of all time. No new wars, making things affordable. Accountability for the Epstein files. When and where did any of the above happen?
Right. He's right.
Yep.
And that guy's name is something Sauce. I'm going to play him just to get that guy that was just on.
Bobby Sauce.
Yeah, I would like to implement what he's doing into my repertoire of clips, because what he's doing is what I do, generally speaking. Yes. So when you don't see me when I'm looking at these clips and I start talking to myself.
I know.
And I think
I said we just got to get the camera set up and get you scrolling.
It would be funny, because what I do is I scrolling through and I'm thinking about what's the stuff I want to talk about. And, you know, I look for things that are against my agenda and things that are for my agenda, right? Things that I agree with, things that I think that I need to get out there. And then I look for things to the counter. But the things that are at the counter are so ridiculous and proven wrong that I'm like, I can't even play it with a straight face. I can't do it. But I talk to the screen, which is what he's doing. He's looking at that going, Glenn, go, Glenn. You know, Glenn's getting Glenn Greenwald getting after him. Play this one for me. This is Trump again. You know, again, I just need my like Reb, if you're listening, Reb, explain this one to me, because we're not questioning anything other than what is MAGA now. When I say MAGA is dead, the MAGA movement, what is it? Because I don't know what it is anymore. It doesn't represent what I voted for Donald Trump. I'll just say that right now. Nothing.
Or there's two MAGAs.
Right, maybe there's two. But the MAGA that I was voting for in 2016, the one that I lost friends and family and my job over, I don't see any. I don't even know what's going on anymore. I don't see any of it. I thought at the very least I'd get some pushback on COVID when Donald Trump became the president for the second time, but that's not happening. I mean, they're still pushing these freaking things. It's unbelievable. All right, here is David. Let's do David. You want to do David Icke or the funding? Which one, Isaiah? Pick them for me. I got two. We got to get out.
Oh,
For
the funding
export
one is
low
pretty
carbon.
good. And it's a short one too. We can do both. We can do the
Funding?
funding and then.
Okay, do the funding one. Explain this to me. Just Trump supporters, explain this to me. If this bothers you at all.
This is funny.
Owners,
This is
the
what I voted
special
for.
interests, the lobbyists have very strong power over these people. They have
Music
a lot
is
of control over our politicians. And I don't say that favorably.
This is our first Jewish president. We thank you for everything.
You're not going to support me, even though you know I'm the best thing that could ever happen to Israel. You're not going to support me because I don't want your money. I love Israel. I'm with you all the way. You will be bigger, better, stronger.
And a lot of bad decisions that are being made for the benefit of lobbyists and special interests. You better get rid of the super PACs because they're causing a big problem.
We have to get the people of our country, of this country, to love Israel more. That are Jewish people, that are great people, they don't love Israel enough.
And then he took $250 million from Mary. It is. It's all Israel all the time with Trump. He's only surrounded by people that love Israel. If you have any questions about Israel or their tactics or their policies, Trump won't have anything to do with you.
Yeah,
that's not what I voted for. I mean, that's not where I was going with it. I didn't know that Trump was going to fall in love with Israel and bend the knee to Israel every chance that he could and take $250 million from Miriam Adelson after he stood on stage in 2016 and said that's what was destroying our country. I agreed with him, Isaiah. I agreed with him in 2016.
Yep.
How do we get around that? How do I get around that? How do I get around no accountability for COVID? How do I get around the fact that he said he was going to try and get money out of politics because he didn't want the AIPAC money, and now he's taking $250 million and we're at war with Iran, which is what Israel's been wanting for a long time. They don't want the war to stop with Iran. Even when Trump says he wants to get a peace deal done, Israel won't let him. Explain it to me. Where's the change? What am I getting? What is the benefit that Robb Carter is getting? I thought he would definitely clean up the elections. At the very least, I thought, no matter what, Donald Trump's going to do something about the elections. Zilcho. I think the elections are worse now than they were in 2020. Nothing. We're getting ready to get to the midterms. You think he's going to implement it here in the next couple months? Right. Or are we just going to turn the House over to a bunch of...
I was watching a Nick Fuentes clip last night. I knew that you'd be happy because he brought up the elections in his clip I was watching the other day. I was like, oh, Rob, I gotta find it and send it to you. I was like, oh, he's talking about things like that and essentially what's going on with the elections, because he was at the Stop the Steal rally with you. And so he shares the same views as us with elections. And so it's just, we don't hear people talk about it a lot. You know what I mean?
Don't we have to come to some kind of agreement on Donald Trump before we can move forward? Because here's the reason I say that. The Donald Trump support is irrational at this point. It's not rational thought. It's an emotion that you get. It's a feeling that you get. It's an understanding from some backroom channels that you've listened to or that you've watched or that you've read that leads you to believe that all of these things that you're watching with your eyes aren't real. There's something bigger at play. That's what's going on. And I'm not even saying that's not possible, but is it realistic? Do you think really big things are going to happen? I mean, we've been hoping for it for 10 years. Do you think maybe next month or in 2027, 2028, when is it going to happen in your mind that we're going to have this big come to Jesus moment where everything's going to fit into a nice little box for us? When is that going to happen? Because I don't see it happening. I see just the opposite happening. I see. Susan. I like Susan. Thank you, Susan. I owe you for opening. This is Susan on one of our listeners. She says, I owe you for opening my eyes. I am now keep away from Fox, and the reality of all of it is like a slap in the face. I feel totally different about DJT. Exactly. If you listen to Fox News, if that's your news source, you're going to love Donald Trump. If you listen to Real Talk Radio, right where I was coming from, you're going to love Donald Trump because they love Donald. There's nothing he could do that would be wrong. Right. And if he does, it's just not that big of a deal. Right. We'll slap him on the wrist today and then we'll give him a big hug tomorrow. And I just think that is we have to come to terms with that. We have to all rationalize why we are in the Donald Trump MAGA movement. What is it that is drawing you into this movement? If it is, it's better than the Democrats, I don't buy it. If it is, he's got a secret 5D chess plan going on that we need to recognize before it's too late, I don't buy it. I don't buy it because of the AI data centers and the attachment to Larry Ellison, the switch over TikTok to Jewish ownership, and the war with Iran, and then not getting the elections covered. I could go on and on and on with things that I wanted done.
So, Rob, you're judging your politicians based off their actions? Yes. How dare you?
I only roll with actions.
I want you to respond to this. This is going to cover your face because it's a long one. It's from Reb again, though.
Reb's smart. I like Reb.
Yeah. And then we got Act for Missouri coming in at 10:30, I know. Yep. And so we'll want to get to them. She said, no new wars means that Iran is not a new war. I'm not sure how that's true, but it represents ending through an operation strike the same war that's been ongoing for the last 47 years. Between us?
But Reb,
Yeah,
yeah,
the first
yeah.
president to step up to end the Kabbalist government. How do you end it? Cut off the head of the snake, Iran. That's
See,
where the propaganda has gotten people.
Yeah, see, Reb, the reason I don't feel that way is I don't think that is the head of the snake. I think Israel's the head of the snake.
Yeah.
Iran's been there for thousands of years. Israel's been there since 1947. And it was the British and the United States intelligence agencies that overthrew Iran in 1953-54.
Yeah.
We got into their country. The British put a country right in the middle of the Palestinian territories. We have that whole thing on the Palestinian, the beginning of that whole thing. So I just don't see it from that mindset. I did, Reb. I did. I saw it just like you for a long time. So, I don't know whether I'm right or you're right, and I respect your opinion. I would just say that I don't see it through that lens anymore. I see the intervention into Iranian land in 1953-54 when the United States government, along with British intelligence and United States intelligence, overthrew a sovereign nation and installed one of their puppets because they wanted the oil. That's what happened, right?
Yeah.
And then the people in Iran didn't like that. They're a very disciplined nation. They're Islamic, and they like their women covered from head to toe, and they like praying 5 times a day. That is their culture for thousands of years. Okay, so when they started to see their girls wearing string bikinis at the beach, right? And all kinds of what they considered to be devilish things going on in their society, they had a group of people that said, we want to get the Americans out of here because this is where they want to take our country. And you could make the argument they were right, couldn't you, Isaiah? I mean, we have transgenderism right now in our country. I mean, we have 12-year-old kids changing their gender with medicines and surgeries. I mean, you talk about satanic. So
doesn't mean everything they do is good. That's not what we're saying.
Not at all.
That's where people try to get over on us, Rob.
Right, I'd rather live here.
Them,
I'd rather live here, but this is my culture. This is what I understand. Yeah. If I was born in Iran, I might not want to live here. I don't know. I just don't know. Yeah. You don't know. Nobody knows, right? You don't know how they feel. But the bottom line is, it was our intrusion into their land in the 1950s that created all of this problem, and the putting of Israel right in the Palestinian territories.
Yep,
that was the British. You got to remember, when Israel was established, that's when the CIA was established.
Yes.
And right, you understand? I mean, it was the same.
Yes.
They are a proxy for our intelligence agencies. That's why I said we get deceived through propaganda, exactly what Edward Bernays said. We get deceived through propaganda, and we believe that Israel is the good guy fending off everybody. And at some point, I guess they are. But the only reason they are is because they are constantly intervening all across the Midwest or the Middle East. You can see it now. Intelligence agencies create. That's where. Let me play one more clip, Isaiah. I just got to play it just because if Reb's listening, you might not have heard this before, Reb.
I do want to say I just see that Combat News is in there. I'm not sure the mix up, but they'll be on. If you guys can hear me, Combat News, you guys will be on in an hour.
No, they're on at 11.
Yeah, they're on at 11. Well, 11:30 is what you texted them.
Combat is.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I think they're on East Coast, though. They think they're about to come up. But I just want to let you guys know it's an hour from now. You guys will come back in. Okay, cool. Okay.
Sorry, guys, if I messed that up for you. Yeah, Central Time on this one. Apologize. All right, let me get into I want to finish with Reb real fast, and then we'll get Ak from Missouri in here because they're very look, I can see them right now. They're like, no, don't be late.
Don't make me wait, Rob. Come on. I mean, come on. They put on a link on their website first, Rob. You can't make them wait. I'll show. I didn't show it to you yet, but I'll show you.
I love them. I'm going to be quick. I promise. Terror funding. Okay, I just want you to listen to this, Reb. Okay, this is a State Department official in testimony in Congress. Listen to what he says, and then kind of get where I'm going, because I'm just learning this over probably in the last 12 months. It's starting to make sense to me. But listen to this conversation. This is Tim Burchett getting testimony from somebody in our State Department. Just listen to what he says.
Mr. Burchett for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chair Lady. Mr. Roman, are you aware that we are sending $40 million a week to the Taliban?
Yes, sir.
Can you name other instances of foreign aid going to terrorist organizations?
We have assisted Al-Shabaab in Somalia. There's been instances of the Khamsi network in Sudan, Hamas, Islamic Jihad, Hezbollah, Kataiba Hezbollah, Hayat Tahrir al-Shams in Syria. Dozens of terror organizations have received indirect assistance from U.S. foreign aid.
Okay. The reason that's important is because that's the system that you have to understand. Our foreign aid goes to prop up terror organizations, and I put that in quotations. Those terror organizations are backed by our money. They create the conditions for war in the Middle East. Then our military comes in to support Israel to fight. And what do we get out of it? Well, we get their oil, as Donald Trump said, take the oil from Iraq. We get their mineral resources. We get more power and control over their financial system. We make them use the dollar, which they don't want to use because they don't want to be involved in the American financial system. But that's what we get out of it. Now, if you just say that we are the largest and most powerful country and we should go out and conquer everybody that we can, if we have to do it through tricks, we should do it anyway, because if they had the power, they would do it to us. Make that argument. Just make that argument. Just say we have the power and we're going to destroy everybody in our wake and we're going to get what we want. I just don't think that the American people would go for that argument. That's all. And I think that there's a long history with Iran. That's an ancient society. It is our people, along with the British, who went in there and overthrew their government and took their oil in 1953. That's where this whole problem begins. It didn't start in 1979 when they kicked us out of their country. That's not when it started. That was a reaction to a group of people inside Iran that didn't like Western culture and they didn't want it in their country. That's the history of what went down there. Right. Okay. Let's bring in
it's
Amy.
the same thing that happened in America when the liberalization of America started to happen. You had a lot of conservative people who didn't want that, right? Who didn't want liquor stores open on Sundays. So I think we can put it into contexts that we even have experienced ourselves in America. And I think we just forget that. We just forget what we've gone through, what we've experienced. And we say, oh, they're the boogeyman. They're the bad person. They're a Muslim. Don't you know that they're going to blow up a building?
We got to stop Sharia law.
Yeah.
Well, Sharia law is against American law. What do I need 2 laws for?
Yeah.
Isaiah.
Yeah, let's not.
And how are they
keep Mike and Amy waiting?
And Isaiah, why do we have Sharia law here? Because we went and bombed Middle Eastern countries, and then our country brought them into America. That's how that all happened.
That's what my point earlier
and
was.
we have the surveillance systems, right, to stop all of the crime, because we started wars in the Middle East and then brought their people into our society. And now we have to surveil American citizens because they're now mixed in with us because our government created the conditions to bring them into our country so that we could be surveilled 24/7. It's a system. It's a system that has to be, people have to recognize the system before they can fix it. That's all. It's not one puzzle piece over here. It's not one puzzle piece over here. It's a complete picture with the puzzle pieces. Once you see the complete picture of what our government is doing, then we can decide whether we want to keep that system in place or we want to overthrow it. I'm for overthrowing the system.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm for. All right. Amy and Mike Castro back for Mo. I see him waiting patiently. I apologize. That was all Isaiah's fault. He started the show late today, and I blame Isaiah 100% for what went down here. What's going on,
Isaiah doesn't get a break.
Good morning,
today.
guys.
Good morning.
No breaks for me.
We didn't even get a chance to talk. Is there anything big on your mind, or you want to? Is it open session today? What's on your mind?
Well, we're planning on starting to talk about certain races coming up for the primary season, but I think we're going to hold off on that for another week. And
you have me excited. Okay, what are you talking about?
Well, that's coming.
I did want to highlight the website because you guys have everything up there now. And I know last time you guys did, it wasn't up there. You're updating it after the show. So I just did want to highlight for everyone that the end of session analysis is all up here.
Yep.
The most important button is right here. That's the most important.
Check
out the Rob Carter show. But
this is the Bible, by the way, for Missouri politics. This is your Bible. If you are trying to figure out what's going on in politics, you pay attention to Missouri politics, but you don't really know what's going on, actformo.org. This is the Bible for Missouri politics. If you want to know what's going on down there, if you want to judge your representatives, if you want to even know who your representative is, all the information that you need to understand what's going on in Missouri politics is on that page, actformo.org. And let me give you guys another plug because I try to do as much as I can. I just beg for donations for you guys. I continue to say my show does not work without the contributions of Act 4 Missouri. This is where I get my information. These people have not led me astray. They bring issues to light. But one of our biggest clips was the one about the Senate when Schnelting walked out of the Senate. That came from Act 4 Missouri, sunshined it. Right. So our show is aligned with act4mo.org. We are aligned with one another because, like you guys, we think that the government needs to have a spotlight on them right now. We don't think they should be able to get away with anything. That's how I see it.
Well, listening to your dialogue this morning, Rob, I started to wonder if you'd hacked into my computer and was reading the article I was getting ready to put out, because we're really on the same wavelength. Later this afternoon, we'll be releasing it, but I kind of came to realize that the Missouri GOP is this party of false choices. They're all these issues that we're seeming to find ourselves on the opposite side of time after time. And I know people are wondering what's the deal is, but it's always the choices that they're giving us it's either a really bad choice or this pretty bad choice. And sometimes it's as bad a choice as the other choice, but it's never the choice we should be getting from a Republican supermajority, a Republican governor. You know, we have this rare window in Missouri where we have all these pieces, and we have a strong grassroots that wants good conservative issues passed and put in place and changes made. And, you know, that's what's so frustrating. That's really what we're coming from, is we're frustrated because we should be doing better. And when we call people out for not trying to do better, we're accused of helping the Democrats or being Democrats or ask where we're getting our money from, and, you know, stuff that doesn't matter. You know, nobody's actually been able to challenge what we put out there. They don't challenge us on the issues. You know, we do have some good debates. I will say that, you know, like, and we encourage that. Mike Koslow jumps on all the time.
Agreed.
Never agree with him, but I think that's the kind of thing we try to generate on especially on our Facebook page, is get people talking about these issues. And hey, we're going to try to provide you a different point of view from the talking points. We're going to back it up with what's actually in the legislation, you know, the facts as best as we can find them, and show you where they're at, and then you can decide for yourself.
I 100% agree. And you even mentioned one of my guys, Mike Koslow. So Mike Koslow, Max Calfo, we know the inside Missouri politics, right? Max Calfo, who I like well, he hates Mike Koslow. He's got a burning hatred for Mike Koslow, right? And I have a lot of people that surround me that don't like Mike. They don't like his politics. And I said, listen, I don't agree with Mike's politics, but I'll tell you one thing. As a rep, I want somebody that speaks to me. I want someone, I make an accusation, I want you to come out and give me your point of view and have that conversation. And Mike does that. I mean, he's always done that. I got to give him credit for that. That's, I think, as a House rep, that allows your positions to be seen by the public, right? And then you vote. You vote whether you like him or not. Assuming you have good
I don't think that we've had anything in our discussions where we agree with him on.
Right.
But there was something, and it was something really minuscule. I mean, just human to human. And I said, "Look at us, Mike. We agree." You know, and he, of course, is funny, but he does. I will give him credit. Very respectful compared to some senators, where there's a couple that just get so dismissive and belligerent. And I'm just like, I have no tolerance for that. None.
And he will at least try to address the actual issue rather than giving you the, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm down here. You're not down, you know.
Yeah, see, that's loser and all that, and name calling and all that.
Then called it, and then the name calling we get, you know, that's where we usually get from. It's usually from the politicians that are the ones saying, well, you're aligned with the Democrats if you don't agree with this.
Right. You know. Well, that's been happening to me. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but there's like 4 or 5 people that come after me. And it doesn't bother me. Actually, I think it's great for my show, right? So the more they hammer me, the better it makes me, because I can respond to it. But they come onto my social media post, and they try to, some of them do what they're not even talking about what the post is about. They're it's like a red herring. Like, you're scanning through and you see something that I post, and then you see the first comment underneath it is not even what I'm talking about, or it's misleading, and they just scroll past it with that stuck in their head. And I think they recognize that they can kind of throw, you know,
how dare you live in Florida, Rob? How dare you?
I mean, a dozen times they put on, wow, what do you know? You live in Florida. I'm like, guys, I've been on the radio for a long time. People know I live in Florida. I don't know why you keep beating that.
Probably the same guys that are defending Carl Breeden, who's supporting this new income tax elimination, and he lives in Florida, and he's one of the big proponents pushing it.
Who is he? I saw him starting to see.
He was a former representative. He was head of the budget committee at one time. I think he termed out and moved to Florida, and now he's a political consultant, I think is what his job is. I'm not 100% sure on that, but yeah, I'd say probably the same people that are attacking you for living in Florida are the ones that are defending him for living in Florida. And
100%.
What is your take on this Kirk Hilsinger? He's been nicer to me lately because I haven't been hammering him as much, but does he come from the political environment? I know he's a Kehoe guy. At least that's what I'm told. But
I believe, and I'm pretty sure he's on the state GOP committee.
He is.
I've met him a couple of times. I really don't know him. I know he's big for the data centers.
Yeah.
You know,
He's selling those data centers pretty hard. We looked him up. He's an engineer. He went to school at Rolla. So he's not a dummy. But I just wonder what he doesn't really answer my argument on the AI data centers. I always get nervous about that, right? He keeps saying, it's a closed loop system. It's, we got plenty of water, this, that, and the other. I'm like, okay.
Well, Rob, you're not smart enough to understand.
And that typically what I
I'm not a fan.
You're not a fan.
One thing I notice about his posts is it's usually about the fact that he's worked in these data centers. He knows you don't know, and he's pretty dismissive of everybody else.
Isn't he on the board of Freedom Principle too? Because that's where
I don't know for sure.
That's where I first met him. I mean, I go off of like first impressions, intuition. That's always been very high, very, very high for me.
Right. It really I don't want to get into the personalities, because I think what's important is the issues, and when we
that's kind of my point.
Yeah,
that's kind of my point. Is I want the issue to be discussed. That's why Kirk Hilsinger, if he's got a difference of opinion than me, then I've said to those guys, even Freedom Principle, you brought him up. I'm not like the people.
Come on the show, right?
Right. Well, I'd like to have him on. Yeah. I want to get some. What is it? Missouri? What is it? I always forget. Something Sentinel. Show me Sentinel.
Show me Sentinel. Oscar. Yeah.
Oscar, right? So I want to have these guys on the show because I happen to not dislike these people, right? I'm not somebody.
We don't dislike them either. We talk to them all the time.
Right. I disagree with their philosophy on what they're trying to get accomplished, and I'm like, well, let's have this conversation, because if you guys can win the argument, if you guys have a better point of view, isn't that going to be better for you? Aren't you going to raise more money? I mean, you're going to, you'll have this opportunity to get your point out. I just want to have the conversation with them. But what they do is they drive by on my social media and they'll hit a little hit on my social media and then go. I'm like, guys, what do you are? I don't know that you think I don't know what you're doing, but why don't we have a conversation so that we can help out the people of Missouri? That's ultimately what we're all trying to do. I think that's what we're trying to do. Anyway.
Yeah.
What's next on your agenda? We'll leave that there. And I just want to make that one more time. Show me Sentinel, Americans for Prosperity, Freedom Principle. If you guys want to come on and hash some of these things out that you believe in and that I believe in, and where we're at odds with each other, hash it out. You have a free reign to come on the show whenever you want. I would love it. I would probably clear my schedule to have those conversations. I would like to have them with you. I'm aligned with Act for Missouri. We're pretty much on the same page with the way we see what's going on in Missouri government. I'm in line with the Shield Maidens. I agree with almost everything that they say, right? So if you guys have differences of opinions, come on. I'll just leave it there.
But even if we weren't, Rob, we would still come on the show and explain our view. We have no problem doing that.
That's right, because you believe in what you're saying. That's me.
And we have, Mike and I were talking about this because there's been so many accusations lately. We have no motive behind this except just to have a state that governs us better. That's it. And I'm like you, I was in an industry that COVID absolutely destroyed. I call it COVIDcon because it was such a joke. And was I mad? Yes, I was furious. A lifetime of a career down the drain with no explanation, made personal sacrifices, lost a business, decimated the industry I was in, knocked it to the ground. And I just was dumbfounded. I was shocked. I thought, first it feels like a big hoax. And then you couldn't even get, the rigmarole, the PPP loans and all the stupid stuff you had to go through as a business owner. What a joke.
Yep.
And I thought, I will never, ever be that vulnerable to my government ever again. And that is why I got into this. Other than that, there's nothing. I don't want to be a politician. And I made my money doing that. And I've been blessed with a life that's allowed me. The donations, we appreciate them, but everything we did up to the point of getting donations, we self-funded. Mike had a successful business. So these people, these accusations that you're a Democrat or you didn't do anything. We opened with a group of people in Johns County a freaking Trump store. And we sold Trump merchandise and we rallied for him and we supported many of the people that are in office now. And we put up signs and we went to fundraisers and we had emergency meetings because they needed to call us all together. We busted our asses for these people. And then they sit here and have the audacity to turn around to our faces and say, you don't support the GOP. I want to say, pardon my language, kiss my, you know what? We wrote the checks. It amazes me that these people will allow you to write the check and you can give the money. But then when you have an issue, they go, you don't know what you're talking about. Well, I was smart enough to make the money and I'm smart enough to give the check, but I'm not smart enough to give my peace of mind. Please explain that to me.
Oh,
I think it's arrogant. I think it's greedy, rude. It's everything.
And it seems like it's coming in a coordinated effort recently. Have you noticed this? Like within the last, for me, it's been like a month and a half, 2 months. And it might've been just because I started the podcast, but I see a coordinated effort amongst these groups of people. I see it on social media, and it bothers me because I'm with you. I said to one person, and I won't get into the names because I agree with Mike. I don't need to get into it, but I said, look, I'm more conservative than you are. Right. And I'm just like Amy. I'm just like you. COVID changed my perception of my life. Right. Because I didn't
completely, I will never be the same. It was a life altering moment. And I know with Shield Main's Lisa Panette's the same way, because she watched them make laws that were ridiculous, closing the churches, and she fought like crazy. And her whole thing is too, look what they did at that moment of crisis. They failed miserably, and they were willing to do things to us that were unbelievable.
100%. And no repercussions.
And no repercussions. We still don't see it. And Trump was part of that. I mean, and whether we want to, we voted, like I said, we did all of this. We were very supportive. But if you're not questioning some things right now, you got to wake up.
Look, and it's not just our. It is actually our duty to question our government. It's not just our right. It is our duty to do it. This government, for the people, by the people, doesn't work if the people just sit back and watch and show up to vote every couple of years.
I agree. And I was going to ask you, Mike, what do you think is going on with that? Because kind of the premise of the show today was, is MAGA dead? And I didn't mean is Donald Trump not influential. I believe he's incredibly influential. I think that he has a fan base that is undeniable, no doubt about it, right? But is MAGA the movement dead? Like when you were voting, when you were selling Trump merchandise, Amy, Mike, when you guys were doing this at the beginning, wasn't it about government accountability? Wasn't it about getting rid of the old guard that was continually causing wars? Wasn't it to clean up the borders and have a secure country? Wasn't it to tackle some of these major fundamental and structural issues? That's what got me all excited.
I still think that's what connected Trump with the people more than the persona. I know a lot of it now seems to be more the persona than that, but initially that's what attracted me to him. It wasn't, I really didn't like some of the things he actually said or the way he addressed people and all that didn't fit my idea of how you talk to one another. But the actual idea of we need a government that works for the people, that works for America first. Those were things that people have been yelling at their TVs for years before, and nobody was addressing him. And he gave voice to that, and he definitely deserves credit for that. But that doesn't mean that's a blank check forever either.
100% agree. I mean, that's the way I look at it too. I even say, if I'm going to give Donald Trump credit for something, it is for exposing what we now see kind of right before our eyes. Right before, it was kind of, you thought about it, it was in the back, you really knew. Now you see it right out in the front. You can't miss it anymore. But now what's the solution? Because what I see going into place, this is an argument I had with one of my PLMO members the other day. I'm looking at the policy that's going in. I don't in the executive orders and the this and the that, fine. But I'm looking at what are the policies that are being put into place. The COVID vaccine should not be on the schedule. They should be gone. Nobody should have to take them. And not only do they have to take them, the people that organized COVID should be tried in public so we can see what they did. That's not happening. That's a big deal. When you steal because it was a $2.2 trillion theft with the CARES Act, right? That's how they bought off all the states. So it's not like it's not going to have generational effect on our country. And people that know what's going on know that that's what went down. How do we let that slide? Are you telling me that Donald Trump doesn't know that happened? And you're telling me that Donald Trump, with the bully pulpit and all of his adoring fans, couldn't go out and say, wait a minute, I am now learning that COVID was organized through multiple different countries in an effort to lock us down and consolidate power and take money from your pockets to Wall Street. Now that I see that happened, we have got to get to the bottom of this, and people are going to have to pay. What keeps him from doing that? What 5D chess is keeping COVID alive? And these things are still on the schedule, killing our kids. You can't make sense of it. And all the people agree with me. Even the most staunch Republican supporters and Trump supporters agree with what I just said. But they think it's 5D chess. They think that killing people with concoctions and COVID vaccines are somehow going to work to our advantage at some point. It's really strange thinking, in my opinion.
I do pray that they're right somehow, and I'm missing
it.
Me too. But I feel the same way. I try to focus on what they do, not what they say. And
right.
That's what we do in Missouri. That's where our focus is. We don't listen to the as Amy calls them, the rah letters that come out every month or every week.
The rah report. Yeah.
We try to actually see what it is that they've actually done and passed, and what's gonna be in the law, because that's what really matters at the end. That's the fruits, right? So
I mean, I think we took a federal concern that we both experienced, or we all three have experienced, everybody with COVID, and then I just brought it into what's my closest circle of influence, because I can't go change the federal government. I can complain about it, I can point it out, but really my closest influence is going to be my local government and my state government, which is what led the Trump store to communicate with people about the issues. Really, the merchandise was just to get people in the door. Yeah. People got in the door because about the merchandise, but then we could say, hey, are you registered to vote? Are you up on the issues? Do you realize what you're voting on? And I will tell you, sadly, I mean, I told Mike, I'm like, oh, we are in trouble. People do not understand. They're flipping between federal and state. They don't know what a constitutional amendment is. It was very eye-opening, which I said, education, there has to be so much education about this.
Right.
People, I mean,
it's something I think we should do in the schools. That's one of the things.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Mike, I was talking about this. It bothers me. In the state of Missouri, you have to sign a loyalty pledge with Israel in order to $100,000 or more with the state of Missouri. That just bothers me. It's not that it's like a life-changing thing for the state of Missouri, but it's
the premise. It's the premise.
Exactly.
Well, on things like that, the way you can always test it is change the group and see if it would still make sense.
Exactly. That's
right.
a perfect
Mexico, France. I mean,
that's right. And what I wanted to do is I want to work with, because I couldn't do it myself. I couldn't write a program for it, but it's just something, as I put 5 kids through school, right? I watched how my kids were being educated. I know that they were really good kids and smart kids, but the education that they got versus the one that it's not even in the same ballpark. It's not even close. I was learning things in 4th grade that they were learning in freshman and high school. I couldn't believe it when some of the things I'm like, you're learning this now about history, right? In particular. So I was thinking, well, I would like to petition the Missouri government at some point with a group of really wise people that would restructure the way we teach our kids in public schools. Because right now it's obviously not working very well. I mean, whatever the system we have doesn't produce a lot of free thinking, good Americans that understand their government, understand how to navigate a free society. Why aren't we teaching that? Why isn't that should be a big, that should be a major focus for the Missouri government. They just want to throw money at the same system over and over and over and over again.
Right, because think about if we did, Rob. You're going to empower the citizens. You're going to empower young people. Never going to happen. DESE needs to go away.
Agreed.
Yeah. Well, let me on that note, let me give a shout out.
Yeah, somebody just said in the chat, the Rockefeller schooling system.
Yeah. So let me give a shout out to Tim Baker, the Franklin County clerk, because I got to know him when he was running for lieutenant governor. He came through a few times and got to know him, and he does have a program in Franklin County where he tries to go to the different schools and has a citizenship program that he goes. I think he's adjusts it to grade level, but that's somebody actually taking it upon themselves to do something that needs to get done, like you're saying. And yes, we need it to be at the state level. That should be, of all the things we're teaching our kids, it should be reading, writing, arithmetic, the history of our nation, and how our government and society actually functions.
How to stay free.
Yeah.
That's what we all fought for. That's what the flag stands for is staying free, being a free country, having individual liberties. I was going to ask you about Tim Baker too, because it was funny when you said Tim Baker. I like Tim Baker. We have a disagreement on the electronic voting systems, but he is always he's like Koslow. He's always been willing to have
very willing to talk. That's right.
I was at Moe's.
Tim Baker's the man.
Tim Baker's a good dude. I was going to do the an event at Moe's. And there was this, we were talking about he was going to bring in a tabulator machine. We were going to watch. I don't know if you guys were there for that. We were going to watch.
Yeah, we were. Yeah.
And there were several people involved with that, getting it together. They're like, do not try to embarrass Tim. Do not. I said, I'm not going to. I like Tim. Why would you guys think that I'm going to do that? I have this reputation, and I don't know where it comes from, as though that the people that talk to me, I'm going to try to hurt. I'm like, that's not my style. It's not me. I'm not going to be fake just because people like me screaming and yelling at people. I said, I do that for effect when I'm speaking into the camera. But when I have people on the show or people who are going to do anything with me, I want to be respectful of them. And it was so funny because Tim is really well liked in that area. And it was just so funny that people thought that I was going to come in there and do that. I said, I'm not doing that. Like, what are you guys talking about? I have no intention of doing that whatsoever. And so when you brought him up, that was the first thing that came to my mind was how popular he is out
there. His willingness to do that is what we should expect from our elected officials. That's an example of, even though I don't agree with him on the machines either, but Tim's never told me one thing and did another either. He's always told me, this is where I'm at on the machines. This is why. And he was willing to put them forth in front of a group of citizens and answer all the questions. Let Allie and you guys do the demo. It was a very informative evening.
I thought so too.
Tim Baker was the first person in government that ever admitted that I corrected him about something and that I was right. And he admitted that I was right.
No, he's got good character.
That's how you have good character. Exactly. You got to admit when you're wrong, right? Didn't all of our parents tell us that? I got to ask you guys real fast though. When you talk about some of the candidates next week, are you looking at people that are coming in that have not held office before that are trying to get there?
I think what we're going to do is focus on some of the key races. So some of them will be the incumbents or people that are moving from the House to the Senate, running against people that haven't. We want to try to give people information about them, but we also want to try to get people thinking about how you should question these people that are running.
Love it.
And how do we, when they don't have a voting record, it's always going to be difficult to know how are they going to handle it when they get handed that power. But there are things we can do, things we can ask, and we can be better. Again, we're about trying to make better citizens, better engaged citizens. So
I love it. That would be great. If you have like these are the questions you should ask on your website.
We do.
We do have a sheet. We'll be putting it up. When we go around to talk, we always bring that to the groups that we talk to and hand it out to them, so they have them handy of just some ideas of things they can ask.
Love it. Are you guys still coordinating with the Shield Maidens? I haven't seen Lisa much lately. I should probably have her on the show at some point if she wants to come on. But are they still? I guess they're still doing their podcast. I just haven't heard from them much because of the separation from the radio.
Yeah, they took a break. They always take a break after session.
Yeah, like everybody after session, you kind of need a break, especially Lisa, because while we're down there 1 day a week, sometimes 2 days a week, she's there every day from the time they gavel in till the time they go home. So she earned her break for a few weeks, I think.
Isn't it funny too? Because I was watching that when I went down there, I saw that it was just there for a few hours. It's exhausting for 3 hours because you're trying to figure out what's going on. And it's kind of like very difficult to figure out what's happening. She's there for what, 10 hours a day?
Yeah, because she'll go to the hearings. The hearings will start at 8 a.m. So she'll be at hearings to testify or to just listen in.
And when the House would gavel in at 10, she'd go over there for a while until about 1 when the Senate would come in, and she'd go and sit at the Senate, and the Senate might go till, who knows, 7, 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock later.
Or they'll go back to hearings, and she'll go back to the hearings after the Senate. So
why do they want to come after her? Because she's ultra conservative. Why do they want to come after her so much? Because she's kind of getting after
she's
some of the Republican politicians. Is that why?
She's the witness, right? She's the person there. I mean, we don't have video in the Senate. It's hard to follow on the audio, and she's really the one there that's watching what's going on for the people. And I think that's why they go after her.
And she's not been wrong about anything. Nothing.
I haven't seen anything to make major anyway. There's maybe some minor points here and there, but and she quickly corrects anything she ever gets.
She's always good at going and saying, "Oh, I didn't have that completely right," or she'll say, "I'm not sure. Let me look before I talk about it." I mean,
on the major things, I don't think I've ever seen it where anybody's ever shown that she's been wrong on.
I wonder what Lisa's future is. Is she going to do this forever? Because she knows more about that government down there. And I watched them come after her and call her a Democrat and this and that and the other. And I'm like, wow, it's depressing when you see
she's taken a lot worse than that, the name calling. I mean, there's been there's a lot of attacking that goes on, and it's not just
where we connect with them, and I think where we connect with you too, Rob, is it's not that we're working together we have a similar mindset, but we also, you know, with Lisa, I know she'll do this as long as she feels like that's what God's calling her to do. And it's the same for us. We're not here looking, you know, I don't ever want to be in office. I think my position that God wants me to be at is where I'm at now. My skill set that he's molded me to have, that he's blessed me with, is best suited to go through these bills, to be able to present it. I'm a programmer. I can make programs on the web and stuff that make it easier for people to follow and understand and access. I think that's where where I'm supposed to be. And as long as that's what I feel like that's God's calling me to do, I think Lisa's the same. I think Amy's the same. That's what we'll do. And when he tells us it's not our time, our season's past, then we'll
step out. Yeah.
Last thing, how did you guys get lined up? How did you guys get aligned with one another?
It was there was a so it was really, I had started looking for ways to get involved locally. I'd been kind of on Twitter at the time, a Twitter warrior for Trump and all this at that time. But then there was this drag show that they were going to hold in our town of Warrensburg, and I was just shocked. I hadn't been living here very long, and I couldn't believe we'd have an all ages drag show for kids at our Elks Lodge in Warrensburg, Missouri. So I went to the city council and spoke, and Amy was there, and we kind of met through
outside,
there. Yeah, that was fighting it, and then Amy contacted me right when the show was about to start, and we realized that we weren't going to be able to stop it. And she said, "I want to go. I think I can sneak in. I can dress up and be kind of, and we'll get some pictures and video." And so that was our first project together. She got in, got the video, and I got it out and showed people, "Hey, does this look kid friendly to you?" And that was
it's amazing how those chance meetings, right, turn into something bigger. It's what happened with Isaiah, right? Isaiah. So Jake Jackson, Isaiah put out a video on X. Jake Jackson saw it. He sent it to me. He goes, "You should have this guy on your show." And I said, "Well, if you can get him, if you can find him," I said, "I'll have him on." And so this was when I was at the radio station. So Isaiah comes in, and I'm immediately impressed by him because I could just feel that he looked to me like he was 19 years old. He's 34 years old.
He does look young.
I thought he was like 20 years old because the guy that was with him was 23. And he's so eloquent about politics, and everything is off the top of the head. Nothing is scripted, and it's really easy for him. And it just kind of caught my attention. So when the radio station thing dissolved, I started calling up for a producer. He said, "I've been thinking about you since the day I was in there." Right? He goes, "Since the day I came in," he goes, "I just had a vibe that you and I should work together." And here we are. Now our whole lives are connected, just like you and Mike. So it's kind of crazy how the world.
I think after we did that, yeah, right.
Yeah,
it was a God thing, because then we did the Trump store, and just having our business backgrounds, we were talking about that. We had some issues with it within the community, and so I knew when I went to Mike, I'm like, this guy knows a P&L. He knows business, and I was like, and he was very focused because he was like, I don't care about the drama. We've got a goal. The goal is to get these people across the finish line, and I'm like, I'm right there with you. That's our goal. The Trump merchandise is to pay the rent, to get the people in the door. So we just could run these two parallel lines. I had gone to the Capitol a couple of times off of Jody. I will give credit. Jody Grace is who I saw on Facebook. And I thought, well, this random lady can go up to the Capitol. I can go up to the Capitol. So I went up there, and Mike was going up for other things. And so it just was a real convergence between a lot. We've gone through a lot of issues, but we seem to be able to keep
there was never a plan for Act for Missouri other than at one of our local We the People meetings. Somebody said one night that, I just wish there was some place where you could go and get the information and not have to, because we see it on Facebook, but when I try to go back, I can't find it.
Yeah.
And I said, well, look, I can do that. So that started that, but what it evolved from there, we had no idea where it would go, and we really don't have any idea where it'll go in the end. We're just trying to do what we think we're called to do, and leave it.
The next right step. We just go. Yep. What's the next right step? All right.
Well, I love it. When I look through that website, I'm fascinated by it. I'm like, man, this is like a one-stop shop for all the questions I have. It's all right there. So I guess, Mike, you're the programmer. Got to give you credit because it's really.
Well, that was the frustration level for us, because as we were trying to learn, we were learning too. I'm like, this stuff is impossible to get through from a teacher-student kind of perspective, is what I was talking to Mike. I said, how are we? Because again, from the people that we saw come in the store who lacked education, didn't understand how the government worked. I was like, we've got to find a way to help people so that they're overwhelmed, they're working, they're tired. They don't have time to dig through this. They need a one-stop shop, get to the site, dig through it. They can do as much or as little as their brain allows or their time allows.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
That's it. It's as simple as that.
It's a great service. And you know what's funny is the Republican Party should be helping you.
Right.
Oh, they should have, this should be what their site is. Really.
I agree. It's what I was thinking. When I was looking through it, I'm like, well, this is what the Republican Party should do right here, because this tells the whole story. You got everything you need right here in one website. All right, you guys, I got a guy coming on next.
All right.
His name is Jordan Herrera. He's coming on next. He's running against Alford.
Oh.
He's running against Alford for U.S. Congress. If you can't stick around, see what.
We'll definitely listen in.
All right, you guys.
All right,
Mike,
thank you guys.
Amy, Act for Missouri, act4mo.org. If you want to donate some money, act4mo.org. I highly suggest you keep them in the game because they are gems for what goes on in Missouri politics. The best.
Yeah.
All right.
I just thought it was funny. Mike and Amy, it says watch the Missouri Senate live. That's if only we could watch them, right?
Yeah, it'd be nice, right? How do I get these things off when these things pop up and it's covering people's faces? How do I get it off of there?
Just click it again.
Just click it again.
Yep. Look at you. Look at you.
So smart. See, I learn something every day.
Look at you.
All right. Let's bring in Jordan Herrera. Jordan Herrera, I talked to him just a little bit last night. Seems like a great guy. He is running in district.
He's running against Mark Alford.
He's running against Mark Alford in District 4. Former military veteran. So we got to talk about some things there. And he looks like a young guy too. Jordan, welcome to the show, my friend. How are you? We got to get sound. No sound?
I'm so sorry. There's no.
All right. Isaiah, you want to hit him with that one?
Yep. Let's see if we can. Can you hear us now, Jordan?
I always wonder what that is.
Okay.
We had that at the station. It was
let me go ahead and try now. Say something, Rob.
Jordan, can you hear us? No. Still shaking his head no.
Okay. I think he can hear me, but he can't hear you. I'm going to kick you out and then just join back in, Jordan. Sometimes when we have multiple guests on it, it can glitch out like that when we're trying to get in between them all. Technology is great when it works, right?
I got a buddy of mine who just said, he goes, you guys are using AI and then bashing AI. Isn't it funny how that continues to be the argument?
Yes, I know.
It's so crazy. That is not what these 1 gig data centers are about. That is about data storage. It's about
That's what I was going to say earlier.
Forever. It's not that they can see me driving my car. It's that they can store that and tell me where I drove 10 years ago. It's storing all of your information, all of your data. Why are people? I don't understand what this.
Kirk Hilsinger's the comment about Kirk earlier, where Amy was saying, Kirk said, "I've worked in these data centers." Blah 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 blah. Well, these data centers have only existed since like the early 2020s. So a couple years. That's how long you've worked in them, and so we're gonna trust you with a couple years experience. Yes, maybe you've worked in other storage data centers. We're not talking about the same thing.
Right, the hyperscale ones, the inventor of it. I mean, you can go watch what he says. He says he's really concerned about it because of the ability to basically steal the identity of every a person that's ever lived. They can monitor and surveil you forever. We're not saying that AI doesn't have benefits. I like AI. We work on AI. It's not about AI. This is like a conflation that the establishment is using. It's like the gun argument, right?
Yeah.
Right. If I shoot somebody, it's not an anti-gun. It's just that the gun was the tool. Well, this tool, this AI, could be used for good, which is defending yourself, or if it's offensive by the government, it can be used to surveil you and destroy any political movements in the future. And I guess, you know what I think it is, Isaiah? I think where it misses, if you're not in politics, this makes no sense to you. You're like, I'm not doing anything wrong. Who cares? If you want to get my license plates when I'm driving down the street, have at it, right? Because you're not into politics. You're never looking to overthrow a tyrannical government that might tax you at half your salary.
Mm-hmm. Jordan's back, and it looks like he can hear us, so I want to get him in here.
All right, Jordan. Come on, baby.
Hi there. Yes, thank you so much, and I can. Yes, thank you so much for the troubleshooting there. I appreciate that.
We go through it all the time, Jordan. So you got to tell me a little bit about yourself. So you're going to run in District 4. What counties is that? And you're up against Mark Alford, who I think is an AI data center proponent. He's out there selling them left and right. So we're already on the wrong side of him. But tell us a little bit about yourself. District 4, just what's your background?
Sure, a little bit about me and what why in this race is. So I started out in this race about 15 months ago, and since then I put 35,000 miles on my vehicle. Keep in mind, since last June, I've only been living off of my military disability income only while getting this done. I was an assistant attorney general for the state of Missouri. But last June 2025, I used my voice on my own time to stand up in resistance against the actions that I saw happening with ICE across the country. We held a local protest outside of the World War I Museum here in Kansas City. And unfortunately, at that time, my boss, the Attorney General, Mr. Andrew Bailey, decided that that was a bridge too far. Even though it was on my own personal time, I was dismissed within 2 days of my within 2 days of that speech. Yeah. It was unfortunate, but I got a dismissal letter that said you're officially dismissed as of June 12, 2025. No justification or cause provided. I asked, they refused to provide one. And I had said, okay, I understand where this is coming from. It is what it is. So why I'm running, though, is because of how I grew up. I grew up poor, just like a lot of Americans. I didn't have a great opportunity to begin with. I started out in life with a GED. I'm originally from the Western Panhandle of Nebraska. My first job, I was a waiter. But my second job, I was making lead ball shot for black powder rifle. I was making cotton wad patch cleaner for bore cleaner. And we were doing buttstock fabrication. And then that's kind of what led me into the United States Air Force in 2006. I have the privilege and honor to serve in Iraq in 2009. I then was in Turkey from 2011 to 2010 to 11, during the Arab Spring. I would come home for only 3 months and then ship back out with the Army. So then I was in Afghanistan, living outside the wire with the Army and NATO forces in Kandahar province, Afghanistan, for the next year. And then I finally got to come back home, back here to the United States. And then we got hit by some hurricanes. If you remember Irma and Harvey, those came a little bit later. But we were part of those, or I was a part of those reconstitution missions of bringing all those medical devices back into the country and servicing them up, making sure we were ready to take care of more patients out on the battlefield. And then at my last duty station here at Whiteman Air Force Base in Johnson County, Missouri, I was a senior clinical engineer for 8 healthcare facilities across multiple states. Unfortunately, though, for me and my military service, I didn't do the full 20. I made it to just under 16 years until PTSD made a decision for me that I didn't want to choose. But I did want to choose sobriety. I did want to choose life. I had survived 3 self-harm attempts, and it was very, very, very hard to kind of get over all of that.
Was this something from your military experience, or is this
yes, sir.
Childhood? It's all military experience?
Yes, sir. So for me, as a combat veteran, I talk about my story with PTSD because it saves lives. I share it with wounded warriors across the country. So thousands.
I was right in the middle of that, Isaiah. Hang on.
I think it just might be his headphones or something that might have died. Yeah.
Well, I'm not hearing him, though.
Yeah, I think something might have just happened with this. Sometimes that'll happen.
You're like a genius. That works.
There we go.
Better? We got you. Go ahead.
My apologies for those not being fully charged. I thought they were.
Happens to me all the time, Jordan.
You knew it right away too, Jordan.
If you can tip me off, where did I leave off at?
You're just going through your military experience and how you were battling with PTSD, and you talk about it because you know it can save lives. That's where I lost you. And I was right in the middle of it, so you got me captivated.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. Yeah, so, PTSD is not easy. It's not glamorous, but it is serious. But it's also something you can survive. You can get through it. You do need a community, though. And I believe in normalizing mental health care, and to normalize it, as you see me talking about it today, I'm not a victim. I'm not a survivor either. I'm just a person who went through some things in life that were really hard. And so I like to just normalize it in that way. I took that service. I took those tragedies. I mobilized it into action. I went to law school. I became a technology lawyer and an entrepreneurial lawyer. But then when I came back to Missouri and started practicing, I went to the Missouri Attorney General's office and became a constitutional lawyer. So I didn't even practice in patent or copyright like I wanted to, or business law like I wanted to. I started out in constitutional law. And so that's what I love today and where I've been at, and what brought me into this race. And so, yeah, there are 14 counties that currently make up the 2025 map for the 4th Congressional District. If we were on the 2022 map, this is before gerrymandering.
Right.
On that map, it's 24 counties, and I've been to all of those 24 counties.
24. Okay, so I got to ask you this.
Yeah.
Let me back up here because I'm very interested in this. So with the PTSD, we had this guy from the USS Liberty on yesterday. So what does PTSD mean? Like in my mind, I think, okay, it's like shell shock, right? Something happened, it shattered your nerves a little bit. So now when you hear a loud noise or whatever, you have anxiety. What does PTSD, how does it manifest itself in your life? When you come back, you start to realize you've got some kind of problem going on because of things you've experienced. What does it feel like? What is PTSD? I'm still trying to figure out what that feeling must be like.
For me, the feeling is this. It's this idea, or it's the understanding that when you step off of the battlefield, the war doesn't end. There are some days where I'll be honest. I'll look in the mirror and the war is in the mirror. It's behind my eyes. Some days I'll lay down at night and I won't be able to sleep. The war is in my mind. It's on my pillow. It's at night.
Is it a feeling of fear, anxiety, both? Is it just
loss, wonder, grief? Did I do everything that I could have done? Was it because of me? And I'll explain that last part. Was it because of me? Because when I was in Afghanistan, and this is something I went through a lot of therapy to get through. So if I stumble through the story, I apologize.
Take your time, you're good.
When I was in Afghanistan, it was a very difficult period where Afghans were watching us. There was a lot of green on blue incidents, which means the Afghan National Army counterparts, we were advising, guiding, and coaching and teaching how to be self-reliant and self-independent, would turn their weapons on their American counterparts or their American mentors and shoot or murder them. So it was a daily occurrence, and we heard it all across the country. It was scary, to say the least.
Lord.
So for a year, we were living outside of the wire with about 5,000 Afghans, 12 Bulgarians, 5 Army, and 4 Air Force. That was it. And, the feeling is, what do I do in these unique, atypical situations? How do I make sure that I move about in a way that protects my team, protects me, and also protects the next team that follows me? Because there is a mentality in Afghanistan that I don't have to hurt you, I can hurt your neighbor, and it is the same thing as hurting you. And so when I redeployed back home to the United States, I made sure that I communicated over to the replacement team that, there was this mentality. There were a couple of situations that happened on my deployment that made the situation a little bit more precarious. And we had instructed the following team, like that followed me, to alter their routes. Do not follow a strict schedule. Make sure that you are unpredictable because they watch you, they follow your movements. And if you become predictable, you become a target. Now, unfortunately, on this particular deployment, there is a commander who likes predictability. He's a full bird colonel. They like that. They like structure and rigidity. That gets people hurt, though, overseas. And unfortunately, that's what had happened. Within 2 weeks of my team redeploying back home, 3 Afghans had detonated a bomb in the command section and had killed a Bulgarian friend and injured an American, my replacement. His name is Andrew. And Andrew would never be the same after that. And within 3 years, he would take his own life. And for a long time, I blamed myself. Did I do enough? Did I warn them well enough? Did I say enough? Could I have said something else? Or even after the event, did I follow up with Andrew enough? Was I compassionate enough? And you do all of those things, all of these steps, and all to just come back to the same point of there's nothing I could do. And so it's just it's an unsolvable riddle. So it's a mix of anxiety, it's a mix of grief, it's a mix of blame and guilt. But at the same time, I also mentioned that when I was deployed, it was the simplest, easiest, most straightforward point of my life. I knew exactly what I needed to do. I knew exactly where I fit in. I knew exactly where I needed to be. Everything was seamless. Everything worked according to plan. Nothing was out of place. It was perfect. And what I loved about that sort of, you train like you fight. And we trained for those fights and we were ready. And so to see that readiness in action and how quick we were going with it, it was just beautiful to see. To be with so many people you spent so many years training with, and here we are deploying these skills. It just made the most sense to be in the deployed. So it's this sort of both and, where you have this grief mixed with this fondness of what it was to be deployed.
I got you. What about, I was going to ask you, what about the people over there? I've always wondered that. I've never been to the Middle East. I've known people from the Middle East that I've done business with, friends, that kind of thing. And I find them to be the warmest, most wonderful people. But you're there as a Army guy in there. Yeah, well, Army? Were you in the Army?
I was in the Air Force, but I had the opportunity to deploy with the Army, and I jumped on it.
Okay, gotcha. So how did people treat you? What was, because we went into Iraq the first time, we were going to be treated as liberators. Everybody was going to love us. Afghanistan has been it's been a burial ground for a lot of soldiers, both from Russia, the United States. It's a tough place to go into, the mountainous area, tribal lands. It's very hard to navigate and understand is the way it's been described to me. And then Turkey is one of the most beautiful areas in the world, I'm told. And, but I've heard negative things about Americans in Turkey. What was your take on just the people? That's an incredible life experience that you have that most people don't. What was your takeaway from the people in those areas?
What was wonderful about Turkey when I lived there, because this is 2010 into 2011. So at the time, this is the time of the Arab Spring. We had an Operation Rising Dawn was happening at the same time. So remember, Benghazi is happening, Libya is falling, and Gaddafi is out of power, and Mubarak in Egypt is falling. He's being pushed out of power. So Arab Spring is happening. Several nations are going into a destabilized mode, and no one's really quite sure what the shakeout's going to look like. So all across the Mediterranean, there was a whole bunch of concern and worry of who's going to be dominant in the region now. And I think for me, what I saw on the ground in Turkey during that period of time was this sort of transitional period, because President Erdogan in Turkey is just getting elected into power. And so at this point, Erdogan is not totally nationalist, not totally anti-American, but he's getting there. And within 2 years of me leaving, so by 2013, that's when Erdogan is by far, he's not really happy about Americans being in the country anymore. And so now at Incirlik Air Base, you'll see you're pretty much contained to the base. And it's been that way for about 13 years.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, you can go off base a little bit from what I'm told, but not too much. It's not the safest anymore in Turkey. It is still a hardship tour location, but I'll tell you, when I was there, none of that was happening. So you could walk off base, no problem, day or night, go out into the alley, which is what it was called. Outside of the base was called the alley. And on the alley, you could get any number of food items. I remember the Moonlight Cafe had the best cheese, garlic, naan bread. Oh my gosh, it was homemade, best cheese, spicy as heck. I mean, your mouth would be burning in the best ways. And the culture there, like you're describing, was built around hospitality and warmth and joy. I had the best time in Turkey. I love the food. I love the culture. I managed to get around to Istanbul. I saw the Blue Mosque. I went to Cappadocia and rode on the hot air balloons and got to explore caves. I went to Antalya and saw a castle in the Mediterranean and sailed on a party boat in the Mediterranean. It was so much fun.
I was told that from people that had explored it long ago. They said, I asked somebody one time who had explored the Middle East, and they said Turkey, and I said, what was your favorite country over there? And they said, oh, Turkey by far. Turkey is beautiful. And they went on and on about Turkey and how much they love it.
It's so great.
But most people would not see it that way. What about Iraq when you were in Iraq? Because that was a little bit different situation, I would assume.
Very different, because I was there in 2009. So it's a very different situation in Iraq at the time. We had been in war with them for a little over, 6-7 years, I believe. At that point, maybe 8 years at that point. And with Iraq, there was I never got the feeling that we were welcomed as liberators. I remember distinctly how much the Iraqi people did not want us in their backyard. Now, keep in mind, I was at Balad Air Base, which is about 45 miles north of Baghdad, and Balad or Sather Air Base, same place. It's also known as Mortar Ritaville. So we were in a very different place. We were I was at the only level 1 trauma facility in country. So we were
Oh, I
very,
bet you
very
saw some
busy.
stuff.
Oh, for sure. I was the
Oh,
pad boss there, and pad boss is your patient administration boss. So I was the guy running out to the helicopters as they're coming in. And as your biomedical engineer, my job is to do an inventory of all the equipment that's with patient, what's on aircraft, make sure all of it's functional, replace everything that needs to be on patient and on aircraft that's non-functional, calibrate it, service it, get it ready to go so the bird can fly off and go and get someone new, and patient can come into my ER and be saved. It's a very quick transition. It's very, very hard to get done, but oh man, one of the most emotional points of my career was going underneath Heroes Highway and saving those lives. I will never get a more awesome blessing than sorry. Like I said,
you're my
stories
kind
are
of guy.
real.
I'm already thinking to myself as you're talking. I'm like, this is my kind of person right here because you got a heart. You served your country. You can see it all over your face. You're a bright person with incredible experience. And I just wonder because I get you off that because I don't want you to get too. I know how I'm the same way. I'm the same way. How's the Republican Party receiving you? Do you feel like you have a real chance against this Mark Ellison character? What's been going on in the political arena?
Just one last thing about Heroes Highway.
Sure.
One of the first decorations I ever received was underneath that flag. So many lives were saved underneath that flag. I encourage everybody to look up what Heroes Highway is. Look up what that flag meant to so many of the veterans that are now with us today. Because when they saw those stars and stripes, they knew they were going to be saved. We had a 98% success rate. Once you came into our ER, you were going to live. That was the jam. And so that flag was more than just a flag. It was hope, it was inspiration, and it kept us all moving. In fact, I saw a 23-year-old, if people do not know the power of youth, I saw a 23-year-old senior airman, and what she did to save this American's life was she had her hand inside this man's body, in his chest, manually massaging his heart, walking with him into the ER, keeping him alive, manually massaging his heart, and we saved his life that day.
Wow.
I mean, miraculous medicine that I will never see again, but it was just unbelievable. The power of youth is just unbelievable. Sorry about that. What was
I love it. That's a great story.
The
I was
power.
and I just got to get into politics because I got we're going to talk about
reception for Republicans. Yeah.
What kind of in the party with the voters? What kind of response are you getting? Because you seem like a very likable person. I would think you would be winning a lot of hearts and minds out there.
Sure am. Actually, it's kind of cool. This last week, I was invited out by Scott and Tyler White. They're a professional fishing team here in Missouri. They were just out at Lake of the Ozarks, and they called me up a couple of months ago and asked me if I would sponsor their boat. And I said, absolutely, of course. I come from Sidney, Nebraska, which is where Cabela's Hunting and Gaming started.
I've been there many times. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. You've been to my hometown.
I told you I used to sell to them.
Go Big Red. Go Big Red. Otherwise, I'll get kicked out of the state. But for me, it's a big part of who I am. So when I got invited out onto the water, I made sure we were there. And when I showed up, here's the cool part. I thought I was just getting a decal on the boat, but Scott and Tyler had my whole name up and down their sleeve, the logo. They had a QR code for us on the backside of their shirt. I met with about 30 to 40 anglers that day who were all competing. And almost all of them have said, I've never seen a Democrat out here on the water.
I didn't realize. So you're a Democrat.
Yes, sir.
That's even better. I didn't even know that. Okay, go ahead.
Right. And I looked around and I told them all, I was like, I was invited here by some folks who are going to vote for me. So I bet you have been out here for quite a while with some Democrats. And and it's just a matter of what kind of Democrat you're looking for. Now, I'm a Missouri Democrat, which is altogether different than the
I don't even care about parties at all. So you're not bothering me at all. I'm just curious what your stance are on certain things, but I got to have you back. I want to ask you real fast about HJR 115, right? The HJR 115, is that it? Because the people coming on next to you, I wanted to talk about it as well. This is something where you're asking the Missouri government to take care of all property taxes for veterans, right?
Right.
This seems to be something when you have a $53 billion budget, you'd be able to tackle because I know a lot of veterans are fighting for this, and it keeps getting lost in committee. It doesn't make it to the governor's desk. I want to help you guys get that done, because this is something that I think if government is going to be doling out money, it should be for our veterans. I mean, your experience and what you had to go through and how it's affected your life. These are things that the citizens should say, okay, we're sending kids off to war. We got to take care of them when they get back home. Should be an easy decision for people.
Right.
Not happening so far, though. Correct?
Correct. Yeah. So this is the 8th year now in a row that HJR 115 has failed to get passed through. This time it died in the Senate. And it's been stopped by both parties at some point in its history now. So it's not just a one-party problem, and it's not just a Senate problem. This time it died in the Senate, but it has died in the House before. So this is an altogether, everybody needs to have their hands on this problem and taking care of it. And why it's a problem. There is no reason for a veteran to stay in Missouri currently. For example, if you are in Illinois and you decide to enlist out of Illinois, as the enlistee, not only do you get state benefits for your education, but so does your children. We don't even have something similar here. Beyond that, you also get property tax exemption if you're 100% permanent in total, or in the state of Colorado, you don't pay taxes on your first $500,000 on your primary residence if you're 100% permanently and totally disabled or a POW. And then on your second home, you don't pay any taxes up to $250,000. In Texas, obviously, there is no property tax, but they do make special carve-outs and exceptions for veterans to make it more attractive for veterans to live in the state of Texas. Now, here in the state of Missouri, we don't have any kind of tool to attract veterans and keep veterans here, even though we have a 10% veteran population in the 4th Congressional District. Why that matters is because in the general population of Americans, it's about 6%. So we have a higher percentage of veterans in this state that we are failing to take care of. So for me, that's number one. When we understand the background, the history, and the data on the ground, then we can do something with it. So HJR 115 is very, very simple. It changes our Missouri Constitution with one word. It changes it from a property tax exemption for POWs POW, you have to be a POW and 100% permanently and totally disabled to receive a property tax exemption.
That should be easy peasy. That should be done like tomorrow. Good Lord.
Instead of and, it's going to an or. So either a POW or 100% permanently and totally disabled. It allows for those of us who live on fixed incomes to actually build a life here, and to have a home, to afford a house, to raise our families in these in this state, or in states that currently don't have these sort of protections for veterans like myself. So that's why this is so important. It also shows to the veteran that, we understand that when you go to war and you come home and you're disabled, meaning you are unable to work in the same capacity you were before, that we are going to take care of you in your disabled state in life.
Amen.
We're not going to just have some ableist mindset and keep telling you to work, even though we sent you to war, even though we understand that your brain is different, your body might be different, your limbs might be different, your face might be different. Come on. This is where compassion comes in.
Jordan Herrera. So we got your website up here, Jordan, HERRERA, JordanHerrera.com. If people want to donate to you, that's where they go.
Yes, sir. Jordan.
Can I have you back on again? I didn't even get into with issues with you, because I'd love to have Democrats on the show. We're primarily a conservative outfit. I don't care about Democrat and Republican politics at all. I'm one of the few that just doesn't bother me. I look for good people. If you got something that I completely disagree with, it throws me off the rail so much I can't vote for you, we'll talk about it. But I'd love to have you back on and we'll go through the issues with you. Is that cool?
That sounds great. And
I promise to be fair, but because I think you're first of all, my audience would love your service, and I thank you for your service. I think you're the best of the best, and I wish you all the best in the future. But I want to get in touch with you, so we'll call you or send you a text right after the show, and we'll set another time up to talk, and we'll go through just your policy positions and everything else.
I think your conservative audience would still be willing to take a look at me and see, like, even when it comes to single ballot issues, I think we have a lot in common. About 85-90% of the issues we agree on. So
I think so too. I do. I think we're on the same page with a lot, and I think that Republicans have so muddied the water about certain Democrats. Like some of the Democrat philosophy, I think, is out there on a limb, but I think some of the Republican philosophy is out there on a limb too. So but I want to have conversations, and I think people like you'd be great for the show. I'd love to have you on. You can promote your candidacy, and we'll try to bridge some divides between the Democrats and Republicans. That's a good idea, right?
That sounds great. I would love that. Thank you so much. I
Love it, and
appreciate
love the
this
hat.
today and the ability to represent these folks right here, Iraq, Afghanistan veterans. When elected this fall, I'll be Missouri's first Hispanic, Latino, and combat veteran from the recent wars to serve in the federal level. We have not had that. This will be a major election for us in a lot of ways. So thank you so much for your time today, sir.
Thank you, brother. Jordan Herrera, everybody. I'll be in touch with you soon, my friend. Enjoy your day. Right on.
Bye-bye.
That was great. See, I don't know. I got into, I got the poor guy off of the story that we were going to talk about, which was his policy positions. But I get caught up in those.
No, it's good. I think it's important for any veteran to be able to share their story when they're running for office, so you can see the true experience that they
and
have.
the toll it takes on some of these, especially in the Middle East, when they're during the Iraq War. I mean, my Lord. I think I'm a brave person. I wasn't when I was 18 or 19. Now I'm 56, 57. I'm like, I feel like I'm a brave person. I don't worry about much of anything. But I don't think I would have had the courage at 19 years old to be running through Fallujah, knocking down doors and fighting people. I mean, the bravery is just unbelievable. And I'm just somebody who loves veterans. I think they're just the best of the best. All right, we got to bring in this next guy. His name is Bill Adams. We had one of our listeners reach out to me on both of these guys, and I think they're both fighting for HJR 115, which is exactly what he talked about. There's the handsome Muck playing golf today. I love it. Now
yeah. Thank you guys for having us. How are you doing today? Thank you very much. We are Combat News, and we're sitting here on the 5th hole playing a tournament for the PFC Dwyer program.
Where you at?
So we're in Rochester, New York. It's a relatively decent day. We're putting for birdie.
Blue Heron Country Club.
Yep. And this is a So this is a PFC Dwyer program. So PFC Dwyer program started 7 years ago in Suffolk County. Lee Zeldin was the person of that time, and he wrote a bill, which is HR 438, which is supposed to mirror or mimic what's happening with this PFC Dwyer program. Now, the PFC, we just sang a birdie. The PFC Sarge did, yep, boom, right in the bottom of the hole. So PFC Dwyer program is a peer-to-peer veteran program that it's all veteran-led, non-clinical. It's always just veterans. So we get together, we golf, we fish, we ski, we do all those things. And this is outside of the VA's purview. So this nonprofit who runs this in this area partners with the Veteran Service Agency in our town. And then they manage this fund that comes out of a grant program for the state. So what ends up happening is, based on the veteran population, money is fed out to the county. And then the county, based on the amount of veterans, then runs a peer-to-peer program that manages all of these events.
Love it. Love it. So you're a combat veteran, Combat News. I assume you're a combat veteran.
Sarge is.
Yeah,
I'll let him have it there.
So how you guys doing? I'm Sarge. I founded Combat News because we were finding out that a lot of the rhetoric and the narratives that were going through the political world was just not from boots on ground veterans. We weren't represented. They were asking questions what veterans need to somebody who, yes, they might have been a veteran, but they are politically appointed. They have skin in the game. So these people sit behind desks. They're making $250,000. They can't relate to the guys who are in the trenches, guys and gals. So this is this program saved our life. You know, when we started Combat News, we found the PFC Dwyer program, and now that they're trying to change it, it's a little upsetting. So we're trying to fight for the wording to be changed. And I know Bill can talk a little bit more in depth because he's spearheading this. It just doesn't seem like. Say again?
Was that a federal program or a New York State program?
All right, so the PFC Dwyer program is a New York State program. It was written as a bill called HR 438, the PFC Dwyer Peer Support Program. The issue is, when it was written as a VA grant program. All right, so any VA grant program is going to be based on a clinical type of program where they're going to want to feed it into the VA and all of that. The disenfranchised veterans, the people that are outside the VA, will never go into a program that's run by the VA. They don't want to be there anyways. 40% of all veterans never touch the VA.
Yep.
So they will go fishing, they will go golfing, and that's where veterans meet and the stories come out. So as this has progressed, it's getting more and more traction, more and more co-sponsors in Congress. The problem is that it's written like grant program through the VA. So when I reached out to Pete Hegseth, my focus was this: have the Department of War fund a state block grant program that would mimic or mirror the exact structure that we're working under now in New York State. Perfect. That way, it gets out of the way of all the politics of the veterans. The Department of War funds it for the future veterans that will engage the VA, who never will. Okay. And then it's also then the perfect way that we can introduce now the new psychedelic programs that are coming down the line, because they're never going to go to the Veterans Administration for that. It's going to be people like us who connect with them and then help steer or guide them into programs that fit. So we're fighting very hard to get the bill rewritten so that it can follow or mirror the exact program that we do here in New York State.
Are you working with anybody in particular? You working with any Congress people that you think are on your side that are trying to make this happen?
Well, right now it's sitting in with Congressman LaLota out, and he's out of Nassau County. Also, we're trying to work very diligently with our representative here, Joe Morelli, in our town, because obviously he's the person who has seen the success of this program, and that's why it's being made a national launch. So we would hope that he would be behind us as well. There's other co-sponsors, but the idea is if you get too many co-sponsors, then they're going to want to keep the bill the way it is. It has to be amended to look like this program. That's what's going to be successful.
Is the way it is now. How many members?
Correct. Oh, how many? We got thousands. Oh, yeah, it's thousands, and it crosses, county lines, the way that this program's ran. That's why we're not understanding is that why, if you have a proven model, and this is the only place that this program is, why would they try to change it? Unless they see that there's money behind it, they can do a little bit. We're just so worried about the program because it saved our lives. It saved many old and young. We're uniting, the older generation with the younger generation through activities. We don't tell each other stories. We all know what we all did. We don't need to, talk to each other about that. It's the camaraderie that really saves lives. And we're just so concerned that this is going to change. And we just want any help that we can to try to make sure that this verbiage directly reflects the way the only model, in the United States is for the PFC Dwyer program.
How do we help?
So where are we at as far as helping? Because that is because we got a couple things, a couple different areas. How can we have them help out as far as where we are?
Okay, so if this is reaching anyone in the House of Representatives or the Senate, what we want to amend HR 438 to mirror the New York State program. We need a sister bill written in Senate that will mirror or run the same track. So when it gets to approval process, it will be very easy to do.
And we've done pretty much all the legwork. We have all the, the diagrams. We showed them how, why, verbiage. We did all the work for them. We just need them to take what we did for them, their work, and just say, okay, here we go. We'll amend it to this. We literally did all the work. The way that it's formatted is the same way that they format everything. Yeah, we're all about solutions. If we find a problem, we want to give them solutions.
Yeah, we're not going to delegate the problem. We're going to delegate the situation with a solution already in mind.
And that's why I'm sorry, is all the information on combatnews.org? Is all your information there?
Where you want to go to find everything is combatnews.org as well. But really the most important part is going to be on X. It's going to be at SGT Mitchell 88 and at 5 Gables. I've written multiple articles about HR 438 at 5 Gables. And so you'll see all of the different amendments that are necessary, all the drawings, all the different ways, because this integrates perfectly with the existing programs that are there. The Dole Act, which is the maintenance of the community care program, and then the Staff Sergeant Grant Fox grant, which is the toes over the edge suicide program. So the only way you can get into this thing would be perfectly through HR 438, the Dwyer program.
We can send you it via email too.
Yeah, we have all of this. We can give you all this good stuff.
Well, we have contact with almost politicians from coast to coast, so we can get it in front of politicians and then give you we heckle them a little bit because we think that they don't get enough done, especially for veterans. We just had a veteran on. We were talking about something going on in Missouri, actually. But I love the veterans. Our audience loves the veterans. So if we can help get your information to some House reps or to some senators in the U.S. government, we'll do that for you. We'll get that out for you. That'll happen. It's just a matter of whether they get something done. But that's what my whole organization is about: getting good things in front of Congress and and then following it through. If they don't get it done, then we heckle them, we aggravate them, and we call them names, and we beat on them. And if they get it done, we praise them. Most of the time, we're beating on them, but hopefully with veterans, we'll get something done.
We can assure you that this is saving lives, you know, and it's changing lives, and it's uniting veterans. And we're going to, you know, this program helps with the 22 a day, 100%. And we just wanted to go across the United States the right way, so it doesn't get all jacked up and, you know, doesn't save lives. Because if this goes national, this program will be one of the most known programs in the veteran community for sure, hands down.
I love the idea of it.
Yeah, it is instrumental to have veterans interact with veterans so that they feel comfortable with the programs that are available.
Correct.
If they're not comfortable with the veteran or the VA, they're never going to get in touch with the programs.
Yes.
So we are the introducer of the comfortability so that they can access the things that will help them.
Yes, sir.
That's really the biggest thing.
All right. Thank you for your service, gentlemen.
Thank you, sir.
Hit 'em straight. If it's breezy, swing easy. All right.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
We're going to try to keep our balls in the short grass.
That's right. I'll be in touch with you guys shortly.
Thanks again.
Thank you. God bless.
God bless. Boy, I love the veterans. Aren't the veterans? They're amazing. They fight harder than anybody. They go through the more hell than anybody in our society. And they always seem to be the best people.
Yeah, ready to keep fighting, right?
Ready to keep fighting, and they enjoy each other's company and the whole thing.
They're the ones who put their lives on the line. Because something that I used to say all the time when I had my own show is I say, hey, just remember, freedom isn't free.
Freedom isn't free. I was talking to John Grady, you know, and John goes, I didn't know if I was going to like you. And I said, well, I'll tell you what he did. He's just he's a little bit like me. He just kind of says what he's thinking at the time.
Well, he has the same opinion too of the establishment. So he's got you got to have your guard up, right?
Yeah, we're aligned in that particular manner. But I was talking to John Grady when I went to his hemp store, and he was kind of telling me what happened, you know, because they took his life away from him. You know, this is the thing that aggravates people. Thank you, Stephanie. I appreciate that. What she said, great interviews today, Rob. What really gets underneath my skin as I continue to look at government as though it is not just a money-making operation for the politicians, right? Because that's kind of what it feels like. It feels like they're always in campaign mode and the PAC money and they give me the yard signs and they're constantly, which is all fine. We need that. It's a part of our system. But for the easy wins, right? I mean, what citizen does not want to take care of military veterans? I mean, this is like an 80-20 argument. You know, there are 20% that think we should never fight war and they don't like the veterans because those people are, to me, I don't understand where they're coming from. If you're going out under the premise that you're going to fight for this nation, right? You're going to fight for the idea of freedom and liberty. That's what your intent is, regardless of the government's intent, but that's your intent. Then automatically you go to the top of the list for me, right? So if I'm going to spend Rob Carter's money in government, which I don't like to do, you know me, Isaiah, I don't like giving my money to the government. But if I'm going to give my money to the government, I want it to go to people that went off and put on put a rifle over their shoulder to go fight for my freedom. These are easy wins again, I think, for these parties. These are easy wins. I don't know why we don't take easy wins.
I know. It's a layup. It's like a layup in basketball.
A layup. If you miss a layup, right.
If you miss a layup, what is your coach going to make you do?
Mine used to make me run laps.
Yeah. You're going to run laps, or after the game, you're going to do 1,000 layups, right?
I didn't miss layups, though. This was the other people.
Yeah. That was everyone else. All right. That never happened.
I was dunking it from behind just like that.
We got a lot of advertisers to get through still.
It's time. Can we go a little bit long today? Because I got a bunch of stuff for you got stuff to do.
Let me think. Today is Thursday.
Maybe
Office is closed this afternoon. So all we're doing is going to Build-A-Bear. Yep.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit extra because I got some things I want to get out today.
For some reason, I keep thinking it's Wednesday. I don't know why.
Let's make sure everybody gets their proper oil changes, though, right? Because if you're listening to the show and that oil light is on, what are you thinking, Isaiah? What should they be thinking? They should be thinking Valvoline Express Care, right?
Yep.
You don't have the sticker in your window. How can we possibly be friends? These are the people that support the entire operation, right?
I love the post you did the other day on Facebook with Sharon. I think you shared Tony Clark's post, and it said, "We're missing all our friends from the north side in Warrenton, where they're
on the other side of the highway."
Yeah, it's so funny.
Just supporters of the station, supporters of the show, and I mean our station now. Supporters of what we do, and I just think they're great people. Valvoline Express Care. You can go get. If you want to go get coupons, Valvoline-Express Care, 15 minutes from Bay to on your way. That is what makes their business so special is they understand what people hate about oil changes. Takes too long, too much pressure to sell you other things. They say, no, Rob, I'm in this game a long time. All I want is quick, efficient oil changes, nice and simple, 15 minutes from Bay to on your way. No sales pressure. All Valvoline branded products. You don't need appointments either. If you want to do business with Valvoline Express Care and my friend Tony Clark. Here are his locations. There's many locations, but here is Warrenton, Cape Girardeau, St. Peter's Parkway, Mid Rivers Mall Drive, Troy, Illinois, and Lime Ferry Road. Valvoline Express Care, 15 minutes from Beta on your way. Our good friend Tony Clark. Again, if you don't have that sticker in your window, we just can't be friends. All right. ECS. I'm still rooting for some rain and some hail for my friends over at ECS and Larry Evans. He's our contractor. I mean, I don't know how else to say it, right? So if you are in our game, if you understand what we're trying to get accomplished here and you're in the Missouri area, ECS Roofing, there they are. Roofing, siding, decks, gutters, garage doors, custom exterior metal, residential, commercial, doesn't matter to him. New construction, storm damage, free licensed inspections. And the most important part with ECS is he is a licensed independent adjuster. So if he comes to your house and says, you got damage with your roof caused by a storm, I can work with the insurance companies. He knows that. He also knows there's a big game with the door knockers in the roofing business where they knock on your door. They say, we had a storm last night. Your roof has probably been damaged. We can work with the insurance companies. They don't know if they can work with the insurance companies. They're full of crap. They're just trying to get you into their system. He says, no. When I tell you that something's gone down with your roof, it's because I know the insurance companies are going to work with you. I know what they're looking for. I know how to deal with insurance companies. In business for over 30 years, big, proud supporter of what we do here and becoming a friend of the station, Larry Evans, ECS Roofing and Exteriors, over 30 years in construction. And again, if you want to find their work, go to Facebook and look up ECS Roofing and Exteriors. Last thing, he sent me this email. I should always read it. He said, Rob, just a thought. One other area in my business other than storms is retail and new construction. I love the retail and new construction side of the business. We run on low overhead so we can pass the savings to our clients. Our prices cannot be beat. Even with that, we offer a Class 3 shingle, ridge vent, and complete installation guarantee, 5-year workmanship warranty on top of the manufacturer's warranty. There they are, ECS Roofing and Exteriors. When you need a new roof, ECS Roofing and Exteriors. Check them out. Roll it up, 314-486-3567. 314-486-3567, ECS Roofing and Exteriors. Carrington Financial. I was on the phone with Rick Bavetz for quite some time last night. You know how Rick is.
I'm sure it's hard to get off. It's hard to get out of any conversation with him because you're just so captivated.
If I was doing this right, what I would do is I would play the phone conversations with Rick Bavetz.
Yeah,
that's where the real action's at.
Yeah,
Carrington Financial, your caringadvisor.com, as I like to say. You can get a second, you can get a third, you can get a fourth, you can get a fifth opinion. I do not care how many opinions you get, but you should definitely get Rick Bavetz's opinion about your money situation. If you're nearing retirement, if you need to protect money, stretch money, save money, doesn't matter. Biblical principles with your dollars, biblical principles with your money. Rick Bavetz, 314-671-0525. I think he's getting kind of busy. I was talking to him last night. He said, I've been on Zoom calls all day long. I said, well, that's a good thing, right? He said, it is. I mean, it's good. I think he was tired, but it's good.
Yeah.
Carrington Financial, your caringadvisor.com. Last pitch for Rick Bavetz. I can just tell you what he did with my money. If he'd lost money, we probably would not be doing business with Rick. He's done a great job for me and my wife, and she's a stickler for cash. She likes our money. She doesn't like losing our money, Isaiah. She likes to gain. She likes to go in the right direction with our cash.
Well, my wife is too, somehow.
Yeah. She likes to take care of our money. 314-671-0525. He's done a great job for us. He'll do a great job for you. Give him a call. Again, I don't care whether you do business with Rick. I do, but I don't. What I want you to do is talk to him and get his opinion, because as he told me on the phone, he goes, Rob, I do it different than everybody else. I look at everybody's business completely different than your typical cookie cutter financial advisor. And that caught my attention. He's been great for me. Call him. 314-671-0525. Rick Bavetz, your caringadvisor.com. RAK, RAK Custom Coatings.com. Now, this is our new advertiser with us. This is Rich McQuay. He does something with flooring in your garages that I had done once before when I lived over in Lake St. Louis. Was I had my garage floor redone. All I can tell you is it really changed the complexion of our home. If you are somebody that is selling a home, if you're somebody who's going to stick around in your home for a long time and you want it to look pretty when you open that garage door, think about your flooring. You clean that flooring up, and immediately when you open up your house, just the curb appeal just changes dramatically when you have a beautiful, beautiful custom coatings floor from RAK Custom Coatings. Family owned, locally owned and operated since 2001. As he likes to say, we install industrial strength, long lasting coatings built to handle anything your home or business can throw at it. And from garages to commercial spaces, RAK Custom Coatings delivers tough, beautiful finishes that last. Where quality meets craftsmanship. Here's the number: 636-398-5040. 636-398-5040. RAKCustomCoatings.com. If you're a car lover, if you have a beautiful car and you haven't got your garage done, you should, because it definitely makes your home look better. Simploy, new contributor to the show, I guess is the way I should put it. I've been working with Simploy for quite some time now. This guy used to, his name's Mark, he used to advertise on my show. And then he called me one day and he goes, Rob, instead of advertising with you guys, why don't you just broker for us? He goes, you know, a lot of business owners, and I have not had a lot of time, obviously, Isaiah, to do this, but I brought it to 3 people. One, I just could never get the information from. It was a buddy of mine. The other 2 have turned their business, their payroll services business, over to Simploy, and they've been saving enormous amounts of money. If you are a small business, if you're working on QuickBooks, if you have to pay, what do they call it when you have to for your employees, Isaiah? I'm missing the term that I'm looking for.
Payroll taxes?
Or if they get hurt. Workman's comp.
Workman's comp,
They do
yeah.
Workman's comp. They do 401k. They do all these things. And a lot of small businesses have maybe 25 employees or less. They go, oh, Rob, I just do it with QuickBooks, this and that and the other. And I go to Mark and I go, well, I talked to this person. They do it with QuickBooks. He goes, have them call me. We can save them money, because they're still paying for, if they got this business or that business, they're still paying workman's comp and they're doing all this. If you add it all together, it's a lot more than that. We can save them money. Simploy is a payroll services company based in Missouri. I think they're out to 38 states, but they can do business with just about anywhere in the country. 2 friends of mine that I put, 2 very close friends of mine, by the way, I put in front of Simploy, and they, as I understand it, did a terrific job for them. They're very impressed. If you want to do business with Simploy.com and you want to get to my guy, it's simploy.com/Rob, ROBB. So we got to get that up on the screen at some time. I'll help you out with Isaiah. Simploy.com/Rob, and they'll take care of you. It's a payroll services business. Fantastic. Like I said, the 2 people that have done it with me have been overwhelmingly happy with the amount of money they saved on their payroll services business. Small to medium-sized businesses is where they excel. There it is, simploy.com/Rob. Small businesses, I'm saying under 100 employees normally, but they can do business with everybody, but they really excel with small businesses and payroll services. Been around for a long time. Great business there. I've really come to enjoy working with simploy.com/Rob. And then Advanced Wellness, Helen Gelhart, Advanced Wellness, MED.com. One of my favorites. I'm so excited to work with her. This is a business that I solicited. It's one of the few, Isaiah, that I went after myself, because she listens to the show with her husband, Paul. I got to know them. They're very spiritual people, and I just really like them. They're just salt of the earth, my kind of people, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yep.
And when I started to get to know Helen, and what really made her tick, she likes to help people. She's what doctors used to be before it became a practice where you had to make millions of dollars. She wants to get the word out that there are new treatments, there's different kinds of care, and it's not all within the hospital administration. She doesn't work within the hospital administrations. She may work with them, but she doesn't work for them. So she can do a lot of things that some of these providers cannot do. AdvancedWellnessMED.com. Dr. Helen Gelhart, 314-576-0094. As she says, we assist the divine healer. As you can see by the picture on the screen, she's a very spiritual person. Feel, think, look better, live longer. The earliest cancer detection blood test in the business. If you have a history of cancer in your family and you're getting to that age where you're starting to worry about it just a little bit, go take the pre-screening. She'll tell you what's going on. The earliest cancer detection blood test in the business. And when you can't catch cancer early, you're generally going to be just fine. You got to catch it early. Alzheimer's and dementia symptom reversal. This is a big one to me. I was dealing with somebody that had dementia just recently, and I thought to myself, man, if this were my mom or somebody that I love, it's just a bummer, right? Because at some point it's very difficult to hang out with somebody who's repeating stories over and over and over again. It's just the way it is. And you got to have great patience for it. If you can change the symptoms and reverse them, wouldn't you want to take the opportunity to do that? Helen Gelhart can do that for you. Alzheimer's and dementia symptom reversal. Just a great service. And then finally, cancer care, and she can do pre-screenings for heart attacks, strokes, and the like. Advanced Wellness MED. Doesn't matter where you're at in the country. She's got people flying in to see her. AdvancedWellnessMED.com. 0094. Make that call. And then finally, when it's lunchtime, it is Moe's Pizza.
That's right, baby. Went there last night.
I could go for some Moe's Pizza right about now. I'm getting hungry.
Yeah. I sent Rob a picture last night of the ice cream, and I said, "Don't be jealous."
Isn't it great? Am I wrong? Isn't it great? I only got 2 flavors the first time they gave it to me, and I loved them both. I keep going to the same flavors.
Yeah.
But I love the text. For me, it's all about texture with ice cream, right? That's what makes it work for me. And man, their ice cream was on the money. I remember I left. It's funny. You talked about the ice cream. So Brenda, as I'm walking out the door, she goes, "Have you ever had our ice cream, Rob?" And I said, "I haven't." She goes, "Come here." And she, they're so sweet over there. So she gets this cup out. She puts a scoop of ice cream that I chose, and then she puts another one in there. And I remember I'm eating it as I'm walking to the car. And I shouldn't say this because I'll probably get a ticket, but I'm going up away from from Moe's Pizza, and I'm driving with my knees because I'm eating the ice cream. And I thought to myself, I haven't gotten too terribly far away. I wonder if they sell this ice cream like where I could get it and take it home.
By the pint?
Like a pint. Yeah, I was wondering if they sold it by the pint, and I never went back and asked, and I suggest that they sell it by the pint because I'll be buying it by the pint. But just delicious food.
We got to come up with a Rob Carter flavor.
I'm pretty easy when it comes to ice cream. I'm a chocolate.
Vanilla, strawberry. That's all you need, huh?
No, I don't eat vanilla and strawberry. I eat vanilla with chocolate. I like chocolate. So if I'm going to eat ice cream, it's primarily chocolate ice cream. I do like butter pecan. Have you had butter pecan? Have you had black walnut?
Not a butter pecan fan. I've never had black walnut. I'm not a butter pecan fan, though.
No?
No.
Come on. Delicious. All right.
I'm picky.
Oh, Moe's Pizza salad bar. Get out there. Pizza and salad bar. Mow it down, as they like to say. Mow down that pizza and salad bar. Great sandwiches, though. Great chicken wings, delicious ice cream, and a family environment. Terrific people. They've been so wonderful to me. And everybody that deals with this show has been out to Moe's Pizza, and all they do is rave about it. As he likes to say, God owns the place. I just work here. Moe's Pizza at the corner of Grand and 5th Street in Washington, Missouri. Banquet space available for birthday parties, anniversaries, political meetings, and Bible studies. And you got to get to them soon, because when I was setting up the meeting with them, what was it? Remember Isaiah? I was like, Monday. She goes, no. Tuesday, no. What about the 5th? No. We kept going through till we finally got a date. They're filling that place up because they do great business. Moe's Pizza, a landmark in Washington, Missouri. Get there. Okay.
Yeah. Last night they had a party there in the banquet room, and someone walked in. It's like 7:20 p.m. Rob. They're about to close. Someone walks in and books the room. I'm like, what's going? This is crazy. Really? Yeah. I'm like, this is amazing that this is happening. Is you got this group over here, you got a full dining room of people, and then you got people coming in right before you close to try to book parties, and it's pretty interesting. And then something else I will say that I think will excite people, not just us, but also the listeners, is that Mike says people come in every single day and ask where to watch the show. Every single day, he says people come in and will ask where they can watch the Rob Carter show. So last night I gave him a graphic finally. So if you go to
Moe's, you get the graphic to him.
Yeah, you'll see the Rob Carter show right there. It's got all the ways you can watch. It's got Facebook, X, Rumble.
Those are my people out there. You know that, don't you?
Yep. Oh yeah.
If you're listening from Franklin County, you guys have been so good to me from the very beginning. I mean, I got choked up the first time I went out there, Isaiah. I showed up. Nobody even knew I didn't even know who I was. I'd been on the radio I've been on News Talk for 6 months, but I came to the new station when I was at Real Talk, and I was probably there for 3, 4, 5 months. I walk in. I'm coming from Florida. I fly in. I'm going to be speaking at an engagement at Moe's Pizza, and I come in, and the place was absolutely packed with people standing around the back. And I'm like, wow, this is so crazy. People are resonating with what I have to say, which is basically better government through pressure. That's really if I'm going to boil it down to brass tacks, that's what it is we just want to pressure government into alignment with the Constitution. It's really not much more complicated.
Mm-hmm. I love that Jordan Herr, even though he's a Democrat, he's a regular Democrat. I looked at his, his issues. That was important to him as well, right? It's the Constitution and constitutional law. And I said, wow, that's really cool. Similar to Elad Gross, another moderate Democrat.
Doesn't it make you almost wish there wasn't parties? Because I would imagine that as people are listening to him, they're going, yeah, I like this guy. He's an emotional guy. I like him, his military service, what he had to go through. He's coming back. He's trying to make a difference. He's trying to get into government because he wants to make change. And you're going, yeah. And then he goes Democrat. And I guarantee you there were people in the audience on this show, whether today, because people listen to the show all day. I think we're getting more listeners now at night. I wonder why that is, by the way, getting more listeners.
Well, that's just a more popular time. Where
I guess when they're home, whatever. But I guarantee you people will hear that. And the first thing they're going to, Democrat. I can't vote. I could never vote for a Democrat. And I'm like, listen, if they just took the labels off and said what they're for. A lot of people are Democrats because they just don't like what the Republicans did. They just don't like they don't like the continual war. They don't like the Republican ideology. I can
all I gotta say too is about
some of that, Isaiah. I can understand it to a degree.
Yeah, one of the biggest things I hear about is abortion and LGBTQ, right? But there's gay Republicans. You got gays for Trump,
Got the log cabin Republicans.
Yeah, and so I'm
not for transgender surgery.
No, I'm not either. But I'm just saying that
anybody's for that, Democrat or Republican, I'm out. It's just, to me, that's a deal breaker for me.
It's just funny to me though that's those are like those single issues, like he had pointed out, that they're trying to latch onto or be against and things like that. When if you're playing the party system, right, and you're saying I'm a Republican and I hate the Democrats, and it's like, well, work on your own party. If you don't like the LGBTQ agenda, well, then get it out of the Republican Party then, right?
Exactly. Yeah, it's a perfect example of what we were talking about with picking the speaker earlier when James O'Brien was in the feed, right? I said, James, they picked John Patterson. John Patterson is the Speaker of the House, chosen before he was ever reelected, right? And then a couple of his core issues was he didn't think you should be able to get life-saving transplant surgery if you did not get vaccinated. That's the guy they put at the top of the Republican Party in the House, right? And then he is the one that advocated for the Sunshine Law that allowed for the transgender surgery for minors, right, to come back into law. So, right, it was only kind of like put on suspended basically for however long, 4 years, and then he got a sunshine on it. And I was thinking the people of Missouri overwhelmingly in a Republican state would say, you know what, transgender surgery for people under the age of 18 is a no-go for us. We don't want, and you might even have some reason why you want to do it, but that should be law because you don't want people taking advantage of people that aren't thinking clearly. They're kids. They might have some form of autism. They may have some form of, I don't know. Who knows what they have, but they can be taken advantage of by nefarious adults when they can make a lot of money on transgender surgery. Trust me when I tell you. Yeah, you don't know how many doctors I'm aware of in my life that I've known throughout the years that would give you a heart transplant surgery to make money.
Yeah.
Right?
You don't need it, but I'll do it.
They don't need it. They'll just tell you that you need it because they're like $500,000. You need a heart transplant. You need a heart surgery immediately. We got to get you right now. We got to get you in there for this heart. And that's real. That's
look up
real
the Sackler family. That's all you got to do, people, is look up the Sackler family, Purdue Pharma.
Yep.
You'll learn about how the doctors pushed opioid pills
killed 3 people in
not
my
needing
family.
them.
Killed 3 people in my family.
Yeah.
And they paid a fine. Can you imagine being mass murderers, lie to people and say that you're going to sell a drug that's for pain, that's non-addictive, and it's more addictive than heroin? It's basically synthetic heroin.
It is
and
heroin.
The Sackler family sold it, and our government said, pay that fine basically to ourselves, and everything will be just fine. Don't worry about it. No prison time, no, just you make $15 billion and you give back 2, and everybody that died is just collateral damage for the big Purdue Pharma family. Sickening.
While you're transitioning, I know you want to go to your next subject. I'm just
transitioning. You mean in the show?
Yes, right? Not transitioning your gender. Transitioning in the show. I wanted to bring up Jake Jackson's flock camera ban petition just while you were getting the next subject.
You earned it. You earned it, Jake. You earned it.
100%. So he just set up this petition here. He already got 14 signatures. That's awesome because I know he just did this maybe an hour or 2 hours ago. And so he breaks down the issues, the resolution here that he's proposing, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. And I know he called out, what's the guy's name? Brian. Joe, maybe. Bolazar or something is this the last name? How do you say it? Bolivar?
I don't know. I don't know who you're talking about.
I'll have to pull it up.
That was, you know that one?
What was it? Say it again.
Oliver. Do you know that one?
That sounds so familiar.
Green Acres.
Oh, place to be. Farm living is the life for me.
Land spreading out so far and wide.
Keep Manhattan. Just give me that countryside.
Very nicely done. All right. Very good.
I loved Green Acres.
Oh, you're talking about Joe Brazel. Yeah, Joe's a friend of ours.
I couldn't remember.
We like Joe. We like Joe. We just think he made we don't think he made the right decision here. So I'm with Jake. Jake, you need to get this on People's Lobby Missouri's website, by the way, because we're driving people there every day. So get with Kristen, and I know you have it on your own website, but you can link it from People's Lobby Missouri, whatever you want to do. We are in agreement with you. So if people just have a little Jake Jackson tab or something, we'll put that together for you. So when we drive people to the site, you'll drive them to your
It's just a change.org page that he set up. There's these organizations that make it easy. And so we'll be able to
Yeah.
get it, I'm sure.
Yeah, Tammy Trump was right. Joe Brazel, Rob, you know him? Yes, we do. We know Joe very well.
I'm pretty sure this is the same Tammy that when she had commented before in one of our early shows, she said, "Oh man, I need to change my handle now," because it said Trump was right.
We're not Trump haters. You have to,
I know. I know, it's funny.
We are skeptical of politicians. We have a healthy skepticism of all politicians. We do not praise unless they do things that we like, but we're critical when they do things we don't like. It's that simple. And we're not Trump haters. We're not. You don't have to hate us because we are questioning some of the things that he's doing because we don't understand them. That's all.
Mm-hmm. Did you want to keep talking about MAGA being dead?
I got a couple of things that I want to remind people of. And, you know, when we're talking about is MAGA gone, one of the things that was a big selling point for me with MAGA was I wanted retribution. All right. Look up that word because it's different than anything else. I wanted retribution for what happened during COVID. All right. When Amy said she lost her business, you have to understand when you lose your business and your livelihood at 50, it's not losing your livelihood when you're 25 or 30 or 35. When you're 50 and it's all you know, I mean, I'm doing this right now because I believe that my career was stolen from me, taken from me, gone because of a con job. COVID was a lie. It wasn't like Donald Trump didn't know and he got misled by this person. That's all just nonsense. It's just not what went down. This was a planned and coordinated attack on free peoples of the world. That's what it was. And to just let it go by without anything happening is bananas to me. It's just, I cannot believe that this society that went through COVID and watched all of our families being destroyed, watching grandmothers and grandfathers who had their grandkids looking through a window and shaking their hand through the plate glass windows, and all the just devastation that took place during COVID, knowing that was an organized attempt to consolidate power. I know that. Maybe, I guess people haven't accepted that yet, maybe when they do, but I know that to be fact. There's a certain portion of America that knows that to be true. How in the world do people get away with that without anything happening? How is that even possible in this country anymore? I mean, you killed more people with COVID vaccinations and these concoctions that they stuck in our bodies than all the world wars combined.
Mm-hmm. All right, central casting. Everyone got your masks ready? Okay, 3, 2, 1.
3, 2, 1, put your mask on. Right?
That's how.
And here I was during the whole time, just to show you how convicted I was to it. The whole time that COVID was going on, I continued to work until the very end of it, right? I worked the entire time traveling from state to state on buses, planes, cars, everywhere in front of customers, out to our offices in LA. I never wore a mask. Never! And I didn't get the COVID vaccine. How is Rob still alive? Isaiah, can you explain it? Because I want to play this clip for you. It's number 2. I want to understand how Rob Carter did not get vaccinated ever, never stopped working, never got stuck in my home. I traveled the entire time COVID was going on. I was traveling unvaccinated with no mask, right? With asthma, with allergies, and I'm still here to talk about it, and I didn't get vaccinated. How is that possible? Because this is what they were telling us back in the COVID era. Clip number 2. Just remember what they did to us. Just remember that these people are complicit in a lie. They are willfully and knowingly lying to you. Every single person you're getting ready to see on your screen, this is what they were saying. This is a 3 or 4 minute clip of something that was every single day. And I believe, I kind of know, Isaiah, I got to say I believe to be humble, right? But this was a con. When you watch what you're getting ready to watch, just remember this was an organized strategy to consolidate power in your country. Your lives will never be the same unless we push back against these people. If there is no repercussion for this BS that they perpetrated upon American citizens, then you're just going to have it happen to you again. Stop living as slaves. Begin to demand accountability. Clip number 2, Isaiah.
Down these civilized people, they'll eat each other.
You are the unvaccinated. You are the problem. It is the unvaccinated who are the problem. Period. End of story.
The only people that you can blame, this isn't shaming, this is the truth. Maybe they should be shamed, are the unvaccinated.
It's time to start blaming the unvaccinated folks, not the regular folks.
Anyone you came into contact with will blame you.
as will the rest of us who have done the right thing by getting vaccinated.
Because frankly, we know that we can't trust the unvaccinated.
I think it's time to get our moral house in order, Anderson. It's the unvaccinated who are the threat.
All of us vaccinated folks are going to start wearing masks to protect the unvaccinated folks. It's called a Christian value.
You're basically punishing the vaccinated for the sins of the unvaccinated.
People are not behaving honorably. The unvaccinated are basically saying, well, it's open season for me. I can do whatever I want as well.
The unvaccinated are basically beating their breasts and running around the country saying, we don't care, we're living free and so forth.
We've been patient, but our patience is wearing thin.
The unvaccinated, a group that includes children and people acting like children. And the rest of us are starting to get pissed off.
The vaccinated feel the unvaccinated are making me upset or angry.
This is not about freedom or personal choice.
Well, my freedom is being kind of disturbed here. No, screw your freedom.
The other day, Howard Stern weighed in with a much different approach. Take a look.
When are we going to stop putting up with the idiots in this country and just say, it's mandatory to get vaccinated? Their freedom.
But you're treading on our freedom and you're making other people sick, and really you're killing other people.
The anti-vaxxers, they seem to have a thing for death and home remedies.
The anti-maskers turned anti-vaxxers are not just putting their own lives at risk. If that was the issue, we could just say that we can watch them compete to win place or show in the Darwin Awards.
We have to start doing things for the greater good of society and not for idiots who think that they can do their own research.
And don't get me started on the lunatics who won't take any of the COVID vaccines.
Life is too short to be an ass. Life is way too short to be ignorant of the promise of something that is helping people worldwide.
Maybe you're doing it because you're disconnected or disorganized. Maybe you have some sympathetic psychological reasons, but maybe you're just being antisocial.
Oh, you can't shame them. You can't call them stupid. You can't call them silly. Yes, they are.
Those who are not vaccinated will end up paying the price.
The unvaccinated should be taxed. They should pay more for health care.
We need to start looking at the choice to remain unvaccinated the same as we look at driving while intoxicated.
We're going to see, and I've said, almost two types of America.
Dr. Fauci said that if hospitals get any more overcrowded, they're going to have to make some very tough choices about who gets an ICU bed. That choice doesn't seem so tough to me. Vaccinated person having a heart attack, yes, come right on in. We'll take care of you. Unvaccinated guy who gobbled horse goo, rest in peace, Wheezy.
Pointing back to the unvaccinated who are really creating a problem in this country, every death that we are seeing from COVID could have been prevented.
Literally, the only people dying are the unvaccinated. And for those of you spreading misinformation, shame on you. Shame on you. I don't know how some of you sleep at night.
Shame on you.
Can you imagine? And we're going to let these people get away with that?
Wow.
I mean, doesn't everybody now know that they were lying? I mean, how can you wake up in the morning and get along in life without recognizing that these people were in a coordinated attack against you? They were asking you to stick a needle in your arm with a concoction they didn't even know what it was and telling you that you were going to murder your grandparents. I like that one. I like that.
I made that really quick while the video was playing.
I like that. That's pretty good. I look at that one too. The hair's really nice. I like that. Isaiah, what is the deal? Why does our country not demand accountability for that? I mean, it's like, you send yourself into wars and then you go, oops, sorry about that. We know we only lost 5,000 kids. Let me look under the table, see if I can find these weapons of mass destruction. They're not here. People got their arms and legs blown off, and we destroyed the infrastructure of a foreign nation that is very sovereign or was sovereign at the time. We displaced millions of Muslims all over the place. We're sorry. No big deal. Let's move on about our day. Oh, we're going to ask you to stick a needle in your arm. You're going to stick a needle in your arm. It's going to kill you. It's going to create problems in your body. It's going to separate you from your family. It's going to kill your job. It's going to make sure you can't travel. You're going to have to carry this card around if you want to do anything in your life. It's going to separate friends, coworkers, families. It's going to do everything. It's destroy their entire society, kill your livelihood. Nothing. Yeah. Our society just does. What in the world is going on? Seriously, it just drives me nuts. Every time I talk about it, I get worked up. How in the world could they do that? And they were lying. They were lying because they're telling you to take something they didn't know what was in it. They couldn't know what was in it. Nobody knew what was in it. Can you imagine going and sticking a needle in your arm and you don't even know what's going on with it?
Yeah. You're like, seriously. I think it's okay. The government told me it's fine. The government
told me it was okay. I'll take it.
Yeah,
I want retribution. Now play clip number 3 real fast. This is Steve Deese. I'm not a fan of Steve Deese. He does have a decent book out there, but I'm not a fan of Steve Deese. But he talked about what the Biden administration did. So forget about Trump for a minute. We know what Trump did. Trump sold them. Trump sold vaccines more than Mike Lindell sells pillows, if you remember. Okay. Donald Trump sold vaccines harder than Mike Lindell sells at MyPillow. I'm telling you, I was watching it the whole time because it was making me crazy when he was doing it. I'm like, I got all my eggs in the Donald Trump basket, and here this guy is pitching vaccines every single day when he doesn't even know what's in them. He's selling COVID like this is we can't solve this with just traditional medicines, which they restricted from everybody. Everybody was dying. My wife was freaking out what was going on in her hospital. Nothing. There's absolutely nothing. It just ended. Everybody went, okay, that's it. Thank you guys for destroying our lives. What's next? What next tragedy do you have for us? All right, I'm gonna calm down a little bit. Sorry, Isaiah.
No, I got a video. I just pulled up a video here that I'll play after this video. Just a funny little clip that we've played before that just helps people realize what a ruse it was.
Give it to me. I got to see that.
Okay. Let me get this ready here then.
It's just amazing that people don't recognize that was a scam. It's just such an easy scam to recognize, and nobody sees it. Oh, that's my favorite right there.
I got vaccinated.
I'm Randy Garuti, the CEO of Shake Shack, and we are here live in Madison Square Park at the original Shack. When you get your vaccine over this next few days, we're going to get you with a free Shack Burger card. Anytime you go for the next month, you're there grabbing your burger, your chicken sandwich.
You got a pride shirt on.
Show us your vaccine card. We'll get you a free fries on us to say thank you. Get your vax, get your Shack, and let's gather up as a community again.
If this is appealing to you, just think of this when you think of vaccination.
I mean, look how they talk to people, though.
I'm getting a very good feeling.
Just think how they're talking to people. This is a perfect example of how stupid they think people are.
You wanna see who posted this on Facebook? You're gonna laugh. Ready?
Who? Oh, really?
Yeah, back in 2021, he posted it. Isn't that funny?
Doesn't surprise me a bit.
I know. I said, "Oh my gosh, I'm not surprised at all."
Can I just say about Mamdani, because everybody complains about him up in New York?
Yeah.
He wouldn't be the mayor if the establishment didn't want him to be mayor. He wouldn't have ran if the establishment didn't want him to be mayor. The whole thing is fixed and rigged. All of it fixed and rigged. Just telling you, they fix it in the primaries primarily. They if they can't fix it through the machines because somebody gets in there they don't want, they just fix it through the money raising process. And they know how much money it costs to buy seats. You got to watch that with Massey. Again, I give Donald Trump credit. I give Donald Trump credit for that. If you say, Rob, you got TDS, let me give it the biggest compliment I can give to any politician is Donald Trump gave us a peek behind the curtain. He just did it again with Thomas Massey. He could be doing it for the right reasons or the wrong reasons, but nonetheless, you got to recognize that you can buy a seat. If you have unlimited amounts of money to spend, you can go buy a seat anywhere you want. Which Congress do you want? You want a Congress member?
Cori Bush, too, right? She's on the other side.
Cori Bush, 10 million, 8 million to get rid of Cori Bush, 8 million. Write them a check for 8 million. Get rid of Cori Bush. We don't like her. You start to recognize that you're not a sovereign country. If you can't pick your leaders because there's interference by big money that wants to get politicians in or out of office, how are you free? What is different than it would have been if we were under authoritative rule, which we are? But what would be the difference? What's the difference between China when they mandate a vaccine in your arm? You go, no way, they're going to stick needles in the arms of their citizens they're going to make them put needles in their arms? Yeah.
Sorry, I'm covering your face. This is just too good not to share with everyone. I had a nurse chasing me through Tractor Supply trying to get me to wear a mask. I asked her to read the warning on the back of the box. It says, does not prevent coronavirus.
I haven't been back since. I'm with you. Chris, I am with you. That's exactly how I was. I only had, there was an interaction. I got in. It was one of the first real big arguments I had with my wife, Isaiah. She's not listening. She's at work today. But one of the first big, to be honest with you, it's the only argument we've ever really had. Now, we've bickered back and forth over something like if I steal a cover.
But like an actual disagreement where you believe this and she believes
it was a disagreement that was real. It was a real serious conversation. So we buy guns. We like guns. We like to protect ourselves. So we're going to buy a gun.
Same.
And we went over into Orange County or Orange City, I think it's called, in Florida to buy it. And we go to a gun store. And I walk in and there's like 3 or 4, there's 25 people in this place. It was busy. And there was like 3 or 4 people that didn't have masks on. So I didn't think anything of it. I never wear a mask. I just leave if they freak out. I just leave. I'm not going to wear a mask. And that never happened in Florida. This is the only time. It happened one time in Florida. This is the one I'm getting ready to tell you about. So we go in. My wife is buying a gun. She's up at the counter and she's filling out all the paperwork to buy the gun. And I guess the manager comes out from behind and he goes, sir, you like immediate, like militant, sir, you have to have a mask on. I said, I don't have a mask. And he goes, we can get you one. I said, I go, dude, I'm not wearing a mask. You're in a gun shop for freedom. And you're going to make me wear a mask. You haven't figured this out yet. And the guy starts to get a little lippy with me. Right. So he starts to walk away and telling me that I have to leave or he's going to call the cops, this, that, and the other. And I'm walking behind him to the door. I'm just going to leave. So I walk out the door and my wife is still buying the gun. So it's 100 degrees out in Florida at the time. And I'm standing out waiting for her to come out. And 10 minutes goes by. 15 minutes goes by. A half an hour goes by.
Yeah.
And I don't want to tell you how the story ended, but my blood pressure was going through the roof. I'm like, honey, you know, you're going to buy a gun from a guy that kicked your husband out of the store in the 100-degree heat, and you're going to stand there and fill out paperwork and go through the thing for another half an hour. Can't we just buy the gun somewhere else? I want to punch that guy right in the face. I was nice enough not to lose my temper. I was nice enough just to walk out.
He doesn't deserve your business.
Doesn't deserve the business. That was my point exactly.
Yeah.
And she just didn't see it in that way. And I think ultimately she did, but at the time she didn't see it. But it was the first kind of real argument that we had was over that. Again, over COVID. Over COVID nonsense, over losing your freedom.
I eventually got a like one of those t-shirt, like they would make masks out of like t-shirts or something, right? And it was like cloth or something. And I'd walk around with it in my pocket, and I'd walk in, and if I could make it through, I made it through, right? But I always had the mask on hand because these people were crazy. In Florida, and this is in Florida too. I'm talking about Florida as well because we lived in Florida during this time. And
see, in Central Florida, they didn't bother me. I went into every store, Publix.
No, it was pretty good. It was just in the beginning where the mandates came out at first. That's when they were enforcing them, and then they realized, oh wait, we're not going to keep doing this.
See,
this is a great comment right here too.
Susan, I agree. Susan Zimmer, I agree 100%. This is the thing that I just can't. It's hard for me to fall in line with Trump until some of these things are resolved in my mind. Trump gave just what she writes. Trump gave Fauci all the airtime every night and stood right next to him with approval. This is where I knew what I knew. Exactly. This is when it began to break for me. I still supported Trump because I was still in the left-right Democrat versus Republican paradigm. I was still there. But going back in time and looking at this, I'm like, what is the real difference between these parties? They just kind of bounce things back and forth. I don't really see party differences anymore like I used to. Now I'm looking for people that will just be honest and communicate. That's where I'm at.
Got Steve Deese ready for you whenever you're ready.
Steve Deese, go. This is the Biden administration COVID. Check it out.
Forget this, Jeffrey, the rest of my life. August 8th of 2021.
8/8.
Rochelle Walensky goes on, who's head of the CDC at the time, goes on CNN. Now, since it was CNN, I understand a lot of people probably didn't see it, okay? But she went on CNN talking to Wolf Blitzer, and she admitted that people who are fully vaccinated can now get and spread the virus. She admitted this on August 8th of 2021, almost exactly 30 days later. September 7th, 2021, I think it was, is when Biden signed that ill-fated executive order demanding that if you worked for a company of 100 or more employees, you had to get the COVID vaccine or you couldn't work. A month after his own CDC director admitted on national television, it doesn't even work. He still signed that executive order anyway. And that is something to me that's the peak of the tyranny of that era. And those are the two dates I'll never forget the rest of my life.
Well, thanks for reminding me of those 2 dates. I'm not sure I had those in my mind. I need to add that to my catalog of significant times. So what that meant was that after Walensky said that the shot itself would be lacking in any kind of public health benefit, right?
What it means is even before we get to the constitutional questions people like you and I would be concerned about, there's not even a public health case for this. It doesn't even work. It doesn't even work.
Isaiah, now let's go back to my theme, right? Because he's right. I remember that too. I was covering it at the time. I said what he said is what I was saying at the time. You explain to me how your CDC director comes out and says, okay, this is not really effective. It's not working the way we had anticipated. It doesn't stop transmission, blah, blah, blah. That was Rochelle Walensky. Now she's a club member too. She's another Harvard woman. All right. Rochelle Walensky. And then the president of the United States comes out with, I thought it was less than 30 days, but he said 30 days. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I always thought it was a couple of weeks later. And says that it's mandatory for people that work in businesses with over 1,000, was it 100 or 1,000?
100 employees. 100
employees, right? Which was where my wife started to panic because they told my wife she was going to have to get vaccinated and she didn't want to do it. And I talk about it all the time. The stress that caused on our relationship and our family and my wife's psyche, unnecessary. And that was my government. Was that Iran, Isaiah? That wasn't Iran that did that to her, was it? Was that Venezuela? That wasn't Venezuela, was it? No, it wasn't Venezuela.
Cuba?
Was it Cuba? No, I don't think it was Cuba. It's like I try to remind the Republican Party, clean up your side of the fence before you start worrying about other people's side of the fence. Your government did that to you on purpose, 100%, zero doubt. If you haven't figured that out yet, text me, 314-322-ROB, 314-322-ROB, and I'll walk you through how I can prove it to you, right? I did a whole show on it, 2 hours on a podcast, Isaiah, where I walked through all of the information. It is undeniable that it was planned in advance. Absolutely undeniable that it was planned in advance. And you know it was planned in advance because Dr. Darth Fauci got a medal of commendation when he's the one that put it all together. Makes sense now why I got the medal of commendation, right, Isaiah? So Dr. Darth Fauci, just very slow. So you can argue with your people around you if you want to argue with them and explain to them how this was done in advance, okay? Dr. Darth Fauci is the one who, with I think it was Eco Alliance or something of this nature. They're the ones that funded the research in Wuhan because, as the story goes, and there's detail behind this too, articles and everything else, Barack Obama said, we don't want you working on this particular stuff, gain of function research with deadly pathogens at Chapel Hill, North Carolina. So they moved it over to Wuhan, China. That was Dr. Darth Fauci. Working with our enemies, according to the government and Donald Trump's government, right? They're the enemies. China. They're working with the enemies to make deadly pathogens more transmittable. And then the guy that did that, the guy that funded it, was the front man for the cure within the Trump administration. And when people were screaming, fire Fauci at his rallies, he said, I'll take that into consideration. And then one day before he left office, he gave Dr. Darth Fauci a medal of commendation. And when he was asked by Megyn Kelly why he gave Dr. Darth Fauci a medal of commendation, he said, I didn't do it. And the brilliant journalist Megyn Kelly didn't say, well, who did? It's coming from your White House. It's coming from whitehouse.gov. You are the president. Who put that out there? Don't you want to know?
Your administration.
Don't you want to know who did that? Still to this day, you don't want to know? They don't want to know because it's an orchestrated theater bunch of nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
And it's frustrating because we continue, no matter how much it comes to people's minds that this is all theater and theatrics and the system's going to move the way it wants to move, just like an authoritative system, is the propaganda and the left versus right and the Republican versus the Democrat and the liberal versus conservative is so embedded into our psyches that we just cannot see reality. That's my take. That's what I think is going on. Can I give one more clip before we go? And I want to start maybe this tomorrow. So when I was doing the deal out at Moe's,
got to throw this up again.
Tammy Brinkman, we've got to get that. That has to be that has to be a keeper.
Yes.
Tammy, my friend Tammy said you should have the Root Coalition on.
Yes.
All right. It's about the AI data centers. I don't know who this lady is, but I have to have her on the show. So if you're in Franklin County, the reason I want to play it today is because I want this lady that just went ballistic at the city council meeting or commissioners meeting, whatever it is, with Dave Schatz. Did you see this, Isaiah? Did you check it out?
Oh, yeah.
This is just so beautiful. All right. It comes from the Root Coalition. They posted it. As last I looked, just a little local meeting. They had 13,000 views, so people are paying attention to it. And she is given the business to the presiding commissioner in Franklin County, Dave Schatz. Check this out. This is how we do. Wait,
Appointed by the Freemason Mike Kehoe, by the way.
Let me get my music on here. I think it's this one.
It's a big.
No, that's not it. Where is it?
It's a big.
No.
Freak out.
I just did this yesterday. Where'd it go? Hang on. Didn't I just do it?
Just a minute. Yes.
Which one is it? Did you delete it?
If you,
I don't get it. Isaiah,
what'd you do? See?
All right, I give up. That is
Here's the
bizarre.
story.
That one I have. That one I know where it's at.
Here's the story.
All right, go ahead and play it.
Go ahead and play it.
I'm aggravated on one of my songs. This lady is playing absolutely no games. Now, see, she understands who's in charge in a republic.
Yep.
She
said this is a picture of a bunch of little fish eating a shark, just so you guys know.
That's my ants analogy, right? Once the ants organize, they take over the grasshoppers.
Paul Overschmidt was the only person to stand up to receive it from her. Just noticed that.
Who was?
Paul Overschmidt, right there on the. So Paul Overschmidt's the guy with the glasses on the right there. On the far left is Ken Cox, and Dave Schatz is in the middle.
Okay, somebody asked me to have Ken Cox on because he fell asleep at one of their meetings.
Yeah, he fell asleep in that like 13-hour meeting that they did, where a bunch of people came out. It was at 9 a.m. on a Monday. And,
okay, hang on. Let's put this up real fast. So this lady here, this is TNT Brinkman, Dynamite Brinkman. Dynamite! I'll get that one on too.
Oh, Dana Bowers is her name. Yes, she makes great videos. I see them all over Franklin County.
She is who was originally going to come on the live show at Moe's with you. I will reach out to her now about being on the show. Her name is Dana Bowers. Dana Bowers.
Tammy just texted me too about it.
I dig Dana Bowers. You just tell her that I dig what she's doing because this is the way it's done. This is how we do it. Go ahead, Isaiah.
Let's do it.
Love it.
Move this right up to my mouth because I've been quiet and calm, and I've tried to be kind for weeks upon end. I personally not attacked any of you, and I've been trying to keep the peace between you three and Mark and those of us screaming back here no to this life-altering decision. I'm done, gentlemen. I'm done. Ephesians 5:11-14 instructs us as believers to avoid sinful behaviors and works of darkness, but instead expose them by living righteously and by shining a light of truth, and the true nature of evil will be revealed, and call his people to awaken
what's
from
going on there?
spiritual death so Christ can shine.
It's
Wake
just
up,
low audio. It's
gentlemen.
nothing we can do.
Wake up.
Turn it up.
Burning question. Where are the chips and building materials?
It's 100%. She recorded this on her phone.
Yeah.
This is recorded on a phone, so we're not getting any audio that's going through the microphone. So it's
I
going to
turned
be
it up on my end, but I can hear it on my end.
Yeah, it's 100%.
Buildings. Guess what? We all know the majority of these hyperscale centers are built for government purposes, including surveillance. The Defense Federal Acquisition Regulation restricts specific material usage. Occupancy will determine construction material usage. So why do we not have this information? This is another non-disclosed legality that can be used to protect our people. Absentee Mark. Now, either we have a completely incompetent attorney or an intentionally corrupt attorney. Which is it, guys? There are a multitude of statutes and other laws along with this legality that are protective of your residents here. So why have none of these been investigated and presented to you, the commissioners, and to the public? Absentee Mark. Dave, did you have conversations with Kehoe about any AI data centers potentially being placed in Missouri prior to your appointment?
Of course.
Oh, do you want to answer that on the record, yes or no?
I'll answer after we get done with your testimony.
Dave, did Governor Kehoe ever say he will appoint you as commissioner if you approve these specific applications in Franklin County, yes or
Can you
no?
pause it, Isaiah?
I'm not going to.
Now, what people, if you're listening from around the country and you're not in the Missouri politics, this is what goes on in your state, okay? We play Missouri politics because I tell everybody you have to watch local, state, federal, and international politics. You're going to see how they're woven together. It's not like it used to be. The money comes from a central location up high, and it filters its way all the way down to the local level. So as she's talking to presiding commissioner Dave Schatz. I don't know anything about him. I couldn't say anything bad or good. I'm just telling you who she's talking to. He's going to be the prime decision maker on AI data centers in Franklin County. And I'm just telling you, the people of Franklin County, they do not want AI data centers, hyperscale data centers in their town. They don't want it. So whether you like it, think it's good, think it's going to bring in tax revenue, it doesn't matter. The people you serve, the people that elect you, they don't want it. Okay, that's just a fact. They don't. Isaiah?
That's the fact, Jack! That's a fact, Jack!
They do not want your hyperscale data centers in their backyard. They don't want it.
Yep.
So when she's talking and she says, did you and Governor Kehoe have some kind of secret deal that if he made you presiding commissioner, that you would be okay with these data centers? Now, you got to remember back, if you follow Missouri politics, if you go back in the day, this was a big to-do. Mike Moon, who's the best senator in Missouri politics right now, Mike Moon filibustered the idea because Mike Kehoe was going to appoint Dave Schatz. Mike Moon, it's not even his district, got 300 emails saying, no, 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 we don't want Dave Schatz. So he tried to filibuster it in the Senate in Jefferson City and stood up and started reading emails one after another till he couldn't stand anymore. And they used a trick to take him off of his spot so they could get Dave Schatz this presiding commissioner gig. So what she's describing here is, you have to be a little bit dense to think that they didn't have some form of an agreement, whether it was, I don't know, whether it was written or talked about or assumed.
Handshake,
something's going on, because here's the things that we know. Mike Kehoe is selling hyperscale data centers. The Republican Party is selling hyperscale data centers. And Dave Schatz was their hand-selected guy in Franklin County, where the citizens don't want the hyperscale data centers, but they're going to get them. All right. So if you just do your typical math, A, B, C, easy as 1, 2, 3, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, baby, you and me, girl. There it is right there. Nice and simple for you. The governor wants it for the money. He's selling it because it's going to bring billions of dollars to build this prison around you. We're going to get great AI, though. I mean, you're going to be able to make the greatest memes. I mean, you're going to be doing it in a prison, but you're
creating so many jobs, Rob.
So many jobs. You're going to have so many jobs. You're going to be jobs falling out your butt. You're going to have it's going to be incredible.
So much winning. You're going to be tired of winning.
AI is going to be absolutely so fantastic. They're not going to take your jobs with AI, and they're not going to surveil you for the rest of that's just in the fine print. That doesn't really matter. The fact that they're going to
Democrats say, okay,
and destroy all of your individual liberties, that is not even on the menu. We're just going to talk about what AI can do for us, because everybody likes AI, right, Isaiah? Everybody likes AI. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. So if we're just doing the math on this, Dave Schatz gets appointed by Mike Kehoe. Mike Kehoe is selling hyperscale data centers. The lemmings in the Republican Party and the people that just go along to get along and just want to get that money and want to be near power, they are in the Republican Party are all fighting for AI data centers. And then the guy in Franklin County that's the presiding commissioner that nobody wanted was appointed by the people that want the AI data centers. And now you see the backlash.
Vote Sean Noel for presiding commissioner.
Which was quite predictable, by the way. Let that lady finish. I got to let Dana Bowers finish her gig.
Got it right here.
Fantastic, by the way.
But you're specifically telling me this.
I am not done.
Well, you have 10 seconds. You have 10 seconds.
No, I will spend my time speaking. These people want to hear what I have to say. It has been made very clear with the announcement of the Google data that are being placed in Montgomery County that Kehoe is the puppet master. You can turn my mic off.
Kehoe's the puppet master. Nailed it.
He just turned her mic off, by the way.
I know. She said I'll talk louder.
And pass these data centers, even against the will of the people. When did you sell your soul to the devil, Dave?
Dana, your time has expired.
We know the game being played from the state level, and how is it trickling down to our county?
Next is Patricia Schubert.
We have rights through the Freedom of Information Act approving any
Patricia, your time starts now.
An act of quid pro quo. This is not accusatory. This is stating factual information. Shall I remind you? This is exactly what Bavetz went to prison for. You two men, honestly, should dive deep into
Patricia, your time is being
you're going to sink in the
expired.
And Kehoe ship right along with them if you don't stop this, guys. You want to start answering questions now, feel free. If not, you'll end up doing so under oath in a court of law. After your full and complete dismissal for common human decency, your utter disrespect of the process, Dave, and your behaviors during the 13-hour hearing last Monday were disgusting, deplorable, and unlawful. You three in March should not only be ashamed of yourselves, you all should be begging to resign before you're ousted from your seats. At this point in time, nothing, and I mean nothing, excuses your tyrannical behavior. You work for the people of this county, not Kehoe, not the state, nor any of your personal individual interests. Paul was allowed to publicly tear up a paper that was submitted as legal documented testimony that even Dave said on the record was going to be submitted into a file as evidence. Then, Ken, it was more important for you to pay attention to the back of your eyelids while
Patricia, you now have 2 minutes.
My 13-year-old son was speaking, and he was not the only one dismissed during your random snooze fest through the day. I am now infuriated, and so are thousands of others throughout this county. A procedural objection was placed on the record that a public hearing is only meaningful if the decision makers are fully present and attentive to the testimony given. That hearing should have been either continued or left open. As far as the public is concerned, that hearing is legally illegitimate. So I will repeat again what we stated that evening. We the people demand that you reopen the files and continue the hearing for all of those that were unable to speak speak that day in pursuant to RSMO section 110.020.02. You vote no on the rezoning regulations now, or this goes to a vote of the people. Let me tell you, men, you have two options at this point. Two options. You either do your highly paid jobs as the people of this county have demanded you do, including Mark. If the developers or landowners try to sue this county, which includes all of us, they will have no leg to stand on, guys, because in a court of law, you would have us to back you. Or two, you approve shoddy structured regulations and approve rezoning requests for two pieces of land that you know damn well are not compatible, and placement of these infrastructures, and not only will you have your asses voted out of office, but you will sit in litigation with a county of over 100,000 people fighting not only the developers and the landowners, but you three personally will pay legal consequences for all of the blatant documented, recorded, and live stream corruption we have seen play out in front of all of our own eyes. This is not a threat, gentlemen. This is just fair warning. For hell's sake, you four do not, including Mark, know better than the thousands of us in this county. We are saying no, and we will fight you all the way through the litigation process. There's way more of us in this city here in this county. You will not win this. The people of the county will.
Man.
That's how you give it to the man right there.
Dana Bowers. Come on now.
Yeah.
I love that. See, that gets me all excited on the inside.
Oh,
I
yeah.
like that is just the way it is supposed to go down. Listen, you have to know who works for who, right? Just because they sit up there, they sit a little bit higher than you with their microphones and their big leather chairs, and they got the presiding commissioner moniker right above them. It doesn't mean jack diddly ding dong. They report to you. And you got to give them hell when they start getting off the menu. Right, Isaiah?
Oh, yeah. Just a little promotion here. Sean Noel. He can replace Dave Schatz. August 4th. Go to citizensfornoel.com here.
And he's already said he's against these things, right?
Oh, yeah. He's against data centers. And I would say he's similar to you and I, where he's realistic. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But he also knows that there's things that they're not paying attention to, and that they are also, like we were talking about earlier, they're acting like these are the same data centers that we already have, right? And what are you talking about? I've worked at data centers for 20 years. There's nothing wrong with this. And
he seems like he believes it, which is even weirder to me.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure he was at the We the Free People Franklin County event, if I'm remembering right. And he stood up and said, and I yelled at him. I said, you don't know what you're talking about. You're saying that they are AI systems that are new and all these things. Flock camera systems, which are AI systems, run on old Windows software, and they're running into security issues because they can't even update the software. That's a camera. And you're talking about a whole building of AI systems that are going to be obsolete in 2 years. What are we going to do then?
Right. That's what they all say. They're obsolete. It's like I don't even know what it is. I don't even understand what's going on.
That's how fast technology moves, and that was my point.
More to the story, though. There has to be more to the story.
He couldn't answer that. He couldn't answer that question.
No, they never do. Last clip of the day. I just want to play it because I can't stand Dan Bongino anymore. God, I used to be such a fan of Dan Bongino.
I know. He used to be so good.
This guy's name is Bobby.
He was a guy who was like, I'm going to go fight the system. I'm going to go for you. I'm going to go do this for you guys, right?
He had me. This goes to show you, though, right? You never know what people are really all about.
No.
But this guy, Bobby Sauce, I love that name too. What a great name, Bobby Sauce. Bobby Sauce. Bobby Sauce giving it to Dan Bongino because Dan Bongino is basically saying guys like me and Isaiah, we're ops, is the way he calls it. You're ops. You're against AI data centers, ops. Ops, you're an ops. You're all. I'm like, ops. What is this knucklehead talking about? So I heard this. I heard little clips of this from Dan Bongino. Didn't think much of it other than I just don't trust Dan Bongino. Are people still paying attention to Dan Bongino? Is he popular? I don't know.
With the MAGA.
Is he still?
Mm-hmm.
So MAGA likes Dan Bongino? Oh, no wonder I'm jumping off the ship. Okay. Here is Bobby Sauce giving it to Dan Bongino, and I thought this was really, really well done. If you're an influencer on social media, pay attention to this guy because this caught my attention very quickly, and I think it did many. I'd be curious to see how many views this thing ultimately gets, but he is just giving hell to Dan Bongino. Check it out. Bobby Sauce is the guy's name.
Clip number 15.
Yeah, number 15. Sorry.
Recognize an op. Here's your daily dose of lacking self-awareness. If you think all of these people out there screaming endlessly about Epstein and the Jews and everything. Oh, Epstein and the Jays. Interesting. So you, Dan? So you mean you, Dan? Do you think that we're stupid, Dan? Do you not think that we have the internet? Do you not think that we all saw the videos of you talking about Epstein? Dan, none of us changed, Dan. Our opinions are the same, Dan. We watched and listened to you, Dan. Never give this story up. There's something fishy about this story, Dan. And we didn't just wake up one day and say, oh, we're just going to take Dan's word for it after he got paid by the admin, after he went on the inside, to get rid of all the deep state, stayed for 11 months, then retired and came back to yell at us about how stupid we are for listening to what you said, Dan. And you want to say, oh, it's the Jays. That's a convenient way of dismissing an entire country, Dan, that has a lot of influence over our country, Dan. It's not about their religion. It's not about the people that they are. It's about the government that runs them and their interference and involvement in our government, Dan. That's a convenient tactic that they use to dismiss the whole concern outright. Dan, do you think we're stupid, Dan? The Massey types. Oh, the Massey types. You mean the America First types, Dan? Have any kind of grassroots effort behind them. See, that's the thing, Dan. You got it backwards and upside down, brother. That is the grassroots, Dan. You're not the grassroots anymore, Dan. How come it's all the paid social media accounts, all the people that are directly connected to the admin or were once in the admin? How come they're the ones that are still singing this song and dance? How come it's the Salem Media Group podcasters, Dan? Is that the grassroots? How come it's the people that got out that everybody suddenly hates all of a sudden that are the ones that are realizing this, Dan? Are Turning Point paid contributors the grassroots? Are content syndicate podcasters and social media accounts, is that the grassroots? Are the Trump looks so handsome in his red tie, is that the grassroots, Dan? Why do they need money from overseas from these guys? That's ironic. The answer is because no one actually believes a lot of this crap they're spouting. That's where you got it wrong, Dan. No one believes you, Dan. No one believes you. How come Trump keeps winning and you keep losing? Just answer the fucking question. If Trump's so powerful and keep winning, why'd they need $20 million to buy Massey's seat, Dan? Who provided that money, Dan? Whom, Dan? Whom provided that money, Dan? If it stinks like an op, it gallops like an op, and it looks like an op, it's an op. Bro, you're the op. You are the op, Dan. You are the op. Oh my God, guys, you should watch this new paid podcast with Sean Hannity. Hang out with Sean Hannity. When I text Sean Hannity, he responds back. Fox News Corp. Paid podcast syndicate. Oh, the guy that works at this thing is a registered foreign agent. You're the op, Dan.
I like what he calls Dan at the end of Dan.
I know. Dan.
Well, the reason I want to play that is that's what they're starting to say about me.
I know. He's wearing a First Form shirt too. Did you see that?
Oh, I didn't even notice. No.
Yeah, that's a First Form shirt, and it looks like he lives in Florida, probably just from his background.
That's what they're calling me, though.
I know. And
so we're the grassroots people that are trying to get government to fall back in line with the Constitution, and then the people like Dan used to be on our side. I thought, right? Mm-hmm. Now Dan is taking the complete opposite side, and all the entire audience that he cultivated for all of those years as a grassroots representative. Now he's calling us ops.
Yep. I was a huge Bongino fan, and I learned a lot from him in the beginning. I can't and haven't watched him anymore since he left the FBI. He talked a big game and did nothing.
Yeah. But it's not even that. Now that he's back in the fold, he's pointing fingers at people like us.
Yeah. The Salem media money's flowing.
I wonder how many people know the Salem media. Just look at then I gotta go. I gotta eat. The Salem Media Group is Brad Parscale, which is a line. He's a dual agent with Israel, and then the Donald Trump family bought into Salem Media along with Israel. That's Salem Media. That's one of the largest operations in radio. The one before that was George Soros with Odyssey. You have foreign interest running the radio operations around this country, and nobody seems to care or even notice. I mean, you have foreign countries managing and navigating and dictating information that we take in America. I mean, it's just incredible.
Yeah,
it's just the most incredible. What's going on in this country underneath the nose of everybody. I got to find this book, Isaiah. Hang on. I won't be able to find it. I'm going to find this book for you. It's called In the Garden of Beasts. And it's one of my favorite books because I remember reading it 20 years ago and thinking that could never happen in America. And now it's happening And exactly like Nazi Germany, nobody's noticing that it's happening. The entire takeover of your country is happening because nobody knows what's going on anymore. Everybody's fighting with each other as designed, sticking needles in your arm, opening and closing your borders at will. Smith-Mundt Modernization Act, the climate con job, the theft of money that Doge found out. All of this is still happening. Nothing has changed. It's not being cleaned up. There it is right there. That's it. That's the book. Great book. That is what that book is about. It's a book that kind of lays out what was happening in Nazi Germany before World War II started. And it's letters from the ambassador back to the president, which is Franklin Delano Roosevelt, I believe is who they were sending him to.
Yep.
Going into the war and explaining what he's beginning to see as society is changing in Nazi Germany before World War I. After Hitler takes over, what's going on in society. And they are letters. They're real letters. Now, that's a book, but it's based around letters going back from the ambassador in Germany back to the United States in that time frame. It's fascinating because some of the stories that they tell in that book are happening in our country right now. It's almost exactly what was happening. They're talking about a situation, one where they're dragging a Jew around the street and they're beating up on this Jew. And I'm like, hey, did you see what was happening during some of these rallies? We're just hitting people with pipes and beating them up, Black Lives Matter and the Antifa and all that stuff. So exactly what they described was happening. It was just, you just couldn't imagine it happening 25 years ago you couldn't imagine this going on in our country. And here we are.
Funny thing that people forget about Nazis is that they were socialists.
Yeah. Nazi Socialist Party, I think it was originally, right?
Yep.
What it was called. Yeah. And then last thing, I'm going to bring this up and then you can tell this story tomorrow. Everybody was wanting me to bring this up, and I don't know enough about it other than the headline, which is Donald Trump Jr. married the daughter of a banker that ran his money in Palm Beach.
Ran Epstein's money. Yeah.
Right. So the banker so Jeffrey Epstein had his money in a bank in South Florida. That banker, right? His daughter just married Donald Trump Jr. Can't make it up. You can't do it if you want to.
Trump couldn't make it to the wedding either. He said, sorry, I wish I could make it. Got to go do some important business.
Trump couldn't make it to the wedding. Now, I will say this on behalf of the motive of Donald Trump Jr. It may not have been money if you've seen the pictures of them. It could have been for other reasons, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
She's not ugly.
He said she's not ugly. That's awesome.
She's not ugly. He could have been driven by other, motives. Isaiah.
Oh, she's a model is what it says here in the
I bet she is.
Review. Yep.
I bet she is.
All right. Her dad's name. We'll talk more about it tomorrow, though.
Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow morning, Friday at 9 a.m. on the Robb Carter Show. Have a great day.